Green light, go, go, go.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 6 of the Octane Online Racing Simrigs Sprint Series from the infamous, brilliant Indianapolis circuit, home of the Indy 500 and the Brickyard 400, and of course tonight, split blue and split red of the Asia Pacific Simrigs Sprint Series. My name is Alex Wald, and joining me tonight is George Cook. How are you, Cookie?
Yeah, doing good, thanks Alexis, and good to be back in the split blue comms box alongside you, Benjamin Hignett, our broadcaster once again for round 6. It's the penultimate round now, so we've got one more round after this. It'll be a very nice visit to Bathurst for round 7, but today we can focus on, as you said, the brilliant Indianapolis. You might sense a little bit of sarcasm coming from us, but it does have 115 years of history, and it can be on occasion quite an interesting little race. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Split Blue's got for us tonight.
Yes, certainly. We are unfortunately not racing on the best layout of this track, which is, of course, the Brickyard Oval for corners itself. We are instead racing on a layout that apparently doesn't exist according to Google Images.
Yeah, we were looking. We looked hard. I mean, you sort of find out that you've got 0 results within about 30 minutes, but at the end of the day, yeah, there is no official track map for this specific layout. And for anyone out there that can find one, please send it to us. Nonetheless, I think we've got a little bit of math for us to do with the corner numbers throughout this, but it seems to be a mix of the motorcycle circuit layout, and then of course ovals from, and this is the circuit from back in 2008 and all that. It's all wrong. It's all wrong. ACC races on a completely unique format. Don't know why, but we do.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the tracks of all time, I will just say. But we're currently in qualifying, 8.5 minutes to go, watching Brent Sykes in the 454 KA Motorsport Mustang running through what would be turn 9 on the track map available to us, but it's actually turn 10 now into turn 11.
Yes. All right, everyone. Well, your entertainment for tonight's sorted. It's the commentators doing math on screen while looking at a track map. That's totally wrong. This is going to be a lot of fun, but we have 12 minutes qualifying. 60-minute race today. We're back to the usual sprint format. 1 mandatory pit stop for fuel and tyres, and we also have a pit window in as well, because that pit entry and exit can cause some pretty tricky situations to arise with the drivers. Got to be very conscious of where overtaking cars are on entry to the pits. And then you've got to be very aware of where cars are coming through the first sort of 90-degree corner in turn 1 as you exit. So not the easiest pit lane to traverse today.
Yeah, definitely not easy, and we're hearing that there could be quite a few early pit stops in this upcoming race, so we'll have to see what happens with the pit strategies. But at the moment in qualifying, it is Ashwin Reynolds on top with a 1:35.272, leading Breno is in the Lamborghini, and then Burton once again showing form in qualifying. You'd hope he hasn't put a target on the back of his car again like he did last week.
Yeah, that was painful to watch at Red Bull Ring. Burton he had a lot of pace. He's in the Honda again today, but he really did have some sort of magnet to the back of his car drawing in accidents. He was constantly involved. Everyone seemed to be bullying him out on track. He must have said something wrong in the Split Blue chat room.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the best race for him last time out at the Red Bull Ring. Absolute points. Reynolds is now going to 34 to 34.930, just behind him. Burton now going ahead of Ellis. Getting some word in from Mace in chat that NASCAR broke the track. Hayden Marsh also saying that part of the track was under repair at the time GT World Challenge ran there, and presumably also when they scanned this track. So this layout was really only used for 2 to 3 weeks, and it just so happened to coincide with when Kudos were scanning the track.
It's turned into a 3 or 4 year existence here at ACC. That's a bit of fun. That's interesting though, isn't it? I mean, because that would explain why the track maps do not correlate, and it's specifically the combination of turn 6 to 9, that little section we've just gone through, and also right at the end of the lap as well. It's the way that it navigates around. So that must be where things were broken towards the end of the circuit, I'm guessing.
It would have likely been broken at what on the track map says turn 5-6, but is what you bypass by going on the big windy bit that the motorbikes normally go on, because the NASCARs would normally just completely fly over that chicane and most likely break a few things as well.
Yes, they would have been going quite rapidly through there. So yeah, it's an interesting one, but maybe who knows? Maybe they'll update it. They probably won't. No. Let's be honest, they probably won't. So we'll have to live with this layout. I mean, it is what it is. We've got the main corners in there. That's the important thing. Turn 1 and the final corner. That's all in there. Turn 8.
We're missing turn 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Well, that is technically true, yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. You like it or you hate it. It's one of those tracks, I think, at the end of the day. At least it's not raining at the moment, so that is a plus for Split Blue. No, I don't think I have. We'll see. We'll see. We talked about this earlier. Lead commentator in the Split has the responsibility for weather curses, so...
I mean, right now, the Americans will be jumping for joy as it is a Ford 1, 2, 3. The American manufacturer currently locking out the front 3 positions on the grid with Reynolds, McDonald, and Convoy.
Wow, Ford OP at American circuits apparently. Reynolds, yeah, McDonald, that's a decent time from McDonald too. Convoy's up there, 0.6 of a second, not a huge amount in it between P2 and P3. Reynolds has really stapled his name at the top of the grid. Of course, he's leading the pro standings at the moment on 644 net points for the season. Had a lot of good results. His closest competitor is Joshua Bediger on 571, who I don't think we've got in here this week. So, going to be another big points haul for Ashton Reynolds with regards to the battle with Bediger. Breno Ellis is in here though. He's currently leading Silver Class, and he's leading Silver Class in the standings as well.
Breno has been very, very fast this season in that Logitech Lamborghini. She's coming up to the final few doors now into turn 13. Very tricky 90-degree right hand. You don't want to be getting too much of that inside curb. Now, turn 14, to maximize the exit where possible for the run onto the straight. Get a little bit of the banking, but not a huge amount. And now the run up to the line. What does Breno Ellis do? He stays where he is, does not find any improvement. In fact, that was an outlap.
Yes, indeed. I think it was, yeah. We'll see what he does next lap round. Someone who isn't on an outlap right now is this man right here, Chris Murphy, currently in P6. Another who had a Red Bull Ring round 5 to forget, because he was constantly up the top of the grid, had a lot of pace, and constantly finding himself making mistakes in turn 1 on lap 1, and causing some pretty major incidents out there.
Yes, they say no heroics into Zandvoort. Well, what may not have been Zandvoort, but probably didn't need the heroics that unfortunately Chris Murphy displayed at the Red Bull Ring last week. Got caught up in quite a few incidents turn 1 Rebel Ring, which also included the likes of Miros, particularly in that first race.
Yes, and that did cause quite the concertina as well back through the grid, but Chris will be looking for a better race this time out at Indianapolis. He's not finding any time at the moment. Coming up to the last break, the last braking zone, sorry. That always looks so similar between turn 1 and turn 13. But nonetheless, that was the third to last corner, I should say. Does get a decent run out through the last corner, doesn't pick up any time as a result of it though. But he will go again and try and get a little bit of extra time. It will be his last lap because we have 1 minute and 24 seconds left on the clock. So those coming across the line, this will be the final lap that they get to do. Maybe a few out there might have timed this to absolute perfection. A little bit of time there, a little bit of delta found in the early parts and then immediately lost.
Yeah, that's the story of this track, I feel. Here is Ellis, who, again, wasn't able to find much on that lap, but was likely just getting his eyes within the window, is now trying to find something on his last lap to move ahead of the Pro-Am cars of Burton and Lell, potentially disrupt the form of the Mustangs out front. Does not want the Freedom units to succeed in this qualifying session, I am sure. Coming through into turn 6 now, the motorbike section of the track, running in reverse of what the motorbikes were.
Yes, indeed. Does a little bit on the exit there. Finds it again on the straight, so must have dipped a couple of tyres into the grass last time out for the fastest lap. Into the big braking zone we go, harden the brakes, get it turned in, avoid that curb on the inside because that will send the car to space. Finds plenty of time, and into the S as we go.
Yeah, that was a beautiful run there through turn 8, and he's still finding more time. He's half a second up. Had to just delay the throttle application out of the tricky turn 11. Now, braking zone for turn 13. And thereabouts, he needs to find a little bit out of this second to last corner, maximize the exit. He has done so, and he'll get a little bit of a slipstream, but also dirty air going onto this straight, and he's going to be about 5/10 up, and that should move him up to P2. And it does. Breno Ellis in the P2.
That was a great lap, and yeah, we saw him teetering with the throttle right on the edge because he almost overcooked it, but got it absolutely pixel perfect. Here's Lell now trying to also gain and go up the grid just a little bit in the last corner. Finds a bit of time, loses a bit of time. The Aston on the power. Yeah, it's hovering just under the 2/10 mark. Good enough, though, for P4. That is an excellent lap from Lell. Puts himself up ahead of Burton and Comboy. Comboy in the pits now, so not going again. In fact, the top 7 not going again. Ashley Johnston, I think, is still out there, but that'll be coming to a close in just a second. Yes, it is. Does back out of his lap, and that does look like, with a couple of cars left to go, that will be our qualifying as it stands right now. Only Reynolds in the 34s today.
Yeah, and that's a very, very good time there from Ashland Reynolds. Sets him up nicely to continue on with the form that he set at the Red Bull Ring, where he was indomitable. Breno Ellis there, P2, doing nicely. McDonald up there, P3. He'll be reasonably happy with that. And there you go. That will be your grid for the race here at Indianapolis for round 6 of the Sprint Series. So Reynolds from Ellis, McDonald, Lell, your leading Pro-Am from Comboy, and Burton, Murphy, Johnston, Piper, and Scanlon.
Yeah, there's an interesting little battle here brewing for the Pro-Ams because Ishan Lell, who's currently in 13th overall but second in the Pro-Am category with regards to the standings, is on 215 points. Whereas Horsburgh, who we were really impressed with last outing at Red Bull Ring, he's on 224 points. So the battle in Pro-Am is very hot, only 9 points separating it, and Lell has qualified well up the grid from where Horsburgh is. Horsburgh is unfortunately 4th overall in Pro-Am today, 14th on the grid. So it's got a lot of work and a big chunk of silver class drivers to get past if he's going to challenge Lell. So let's go for a little bit of a grid walk as we wait for the countdown and the beginning of the race. And it is Ford, Lamborghini, Ford, Aston Martin, Ford. So look at that right-hand side there. It is the right-hand side, the right hand of the Constitution, or whatever you want to call it. It's Fords all on the right-hand side at the moment.
Yes, it is indeed, as we look further down the promoval car of Piper, then Spidey there, P10. We got nice Italian-looking Ferrari 959. That'll be Lewis and Fisselflate. 33, will be Perkins. Then we have Horsburgh. Ben Deitch there in P15.
Kieran Reed.
Yep.
Number 5 there. Brent Sykes, of course. Tom Kidman. We've got Joe Spenceley there on the left-hand side. That, of course, is Neil Wood. Recognize that bright Ferrari pretty much anywhere. That's the KA Motorsports of Ethan Payno. On the right-hand side, that is Tim Corrin, Sam Bracken, and Chris Brooker in the Castrol Aston Martin. Love to see it.
Yeah, some nice-looking cars out there. I have noticed a few emissions from this one. Of course, we mentioned Vediger earlier. Rose also not in this one, and notably the Holden liveried Ford is missing.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I was wondering why I was feeling so good after that grid walk.
Yeah, that's it. No abominations to speak of apart from the blinding lights of Mitchell Ben Deitch.
The livery that shall not be named, I think, is what it's going to come to be called. But, I mean, look, I've looked at it now for a couple of seasons. I still don't like it, but I think I might be getting used to it, which might be... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just desensitized. Something's going wrong. Something's going very wrong.
Now going into the formation line, we'll have an hour-long race here. One mandatory pit stop with a pit window enforced. So we'll have to see when these drivers choose to pit in. I think we've got about 24 out there tonight.
Yes, we've got Appreciado in the chat saying good luck comms. So don't worry about the drivers, they don't need luck, it's just the commentators with all the math that we've got to do in our head and figuring out which corners are which. That's the ones that we're obviously the ones that are going to have the problem tonight, so we need all the luck we can get here in the commentary box. Quick housekeeping item, of course, as well. It is the Simrigs Sprint Series here at Octane Online Racing. So check out simrigs.com. And also, if you are an Octane Online Racing Patreon, you do get a 5% discount on the simrigs.com website. So do consider supporting us and in becoming a Patreon. It does help things out massively in the background. And of course, you get that lovely 5% off at simrigs.com as well.
Over at Simrigs, they do some fantastic stuff, particularly in the Australia New Zealand region. So if you are a patron, be sure to take advantage of that 5% off that you can use. Getting towards the end formation lap, did you have any predictions for this one, Cookie?
Oh, well, I get the feeling that Reynolds is going to potentially run away with things, but, you know, McDonald's got a good chance here. He's a good defender, and this place can be really good for that. We'll keep a very close eye on him. Breno Ellis qualifying up to the top as well. Very impressive, but yeah, he's got some very fast contenders behind him, so he's got a lot of work to do in that Lamborghini today. I'm interested about the pit strategies today. I get the feeling that there'll be some going for a pit stop as soon as the pit window ends. That's my suspicion. That's my prediction. We'll see what happens today, Alexis.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be a race about tyre wear, and you know anything about the Mustang, it can sometimes struggle with that. So maybe if dominant display comes early on, if he can't manage to get a tyre wear, especially if he goes through an early stop, then that could bring Ellis and Lell into the equation in person as well. So it's all to play for here at Indianapolis. We will be going to 5 red lights very, very shortly here in the land of the free. Eagle sprinting in the background. We've got an hour here at Indianapolis, and they're underway, and there's already contact into the wall for the Lamborghini. That is, I believe that is Spenceley, who has gone into the wall there right on the start. Must have caught him off guard. A little bit of contact there between McDonald and Lell. As we dive into turn 1, Reynolds will hold the lead. Will there be any further calamity? They all ran a little bit off the track, but they've kept it pretty nice and tidy through there. Convoy finding it out with Mercer trying to make the move up the inside into turn 4. Nothing doing there, and it's going to be pretty much single file though. That is Johnston going side by side with Scanlon, who's gotten off to a pretty solid start and is is now trying to go side by side, and it's also Thistleplate going through on Scanlon. Once again, Cameron Thistleplate making a great start in that Bentley. Will he be able to get through on the inside of Scanlon going into turn 7? I think he does, and yes, he does. Now there's Piper trying to get back through on Scanlon, but cannot do it. So halfway through lap 1, things have been pretty good so far, apart from that bit of an instant into the wall right at the start for Spenceley.
Oh, amazing, especially with all the side by side.
Oh,
just as you said it. Yeah, that's a curse. Yeah, we're going to say it. Benjamin Piper and Steve Lewis involved in that in turn 8 braking zone. That's not ideal, but only 2 involved as it is right now. Logan Burton's been having a few problems as well, flipping a few tyres off onto the grass, compromising his exit out of turn 6 and 7 onto that back straight. That gave Chris Murphy a chance as well. Now here's the opportunist in Cameron Thistlewaite versus Ashley Johnston. It's going to be a great battle down the back straight. Let's keep an eye. Yeah, that's right. They're going to be side by side. It's just going to be a matter of bravery. Who breaks later?
Indeed, Convoy up the inside into turn 1. He backs out of it, and that's probably a smart decision. You don't want to be causing any incidents into turn 1 this early on in the race, but out front, Reynolds is only just clear of Ellis at this stage, so Ellis is rolling along with him. Convoy is the one putting Lel under pressure as we take a look at the replay of the race start.
I'm interested to see what... Oh, it looked like maybe a slow start from Spenceley, and the Porsche behind him just could not move out of the way in time, and kind of... I get the feeling there was contact involved there, Alexis.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Quite strange how the car just ricocheted straight into the wall, so I would suggest that there was some contact there, but it could go down to a racing incident given fast reaction time needed to react to that sort of since we watched what happened with Piper. Oh, Lewis, way too late on the brakes.
Oh, yeah.
That will be a big slap on the wrist.
That certainly will be. And once you get onto that curve, it's all over. I mean, you become a passenger, and whoever else gets involved with the contact is also a passenger. Would of course, immediately regrets its decision there and does attempt to redress the position. That's JB Convoy taking out a few of the polystyrene barriers. Through goes Logan Burton. And of course, correction from earlier, and thanks for picking that up, because that was the battle we were seeing between Lel and Convoy, not Ashley Johnson and Fiddleweight. And that's just me giving my colours all mixed up.
Yes, it was Fiddleweight in the Bentley, Convoy in the Mustang, and it was Convoy who went very, very deep into turn 13, into the polystyrene boards, mistaking Indianapolis for target practice. There's now Murphy's all over him, but gets the inside curb, and that is Sykes up the inside of Wood. Sykes goes very, very deep, but should be able to hold the position, and does so into turn 2.
That's a nice move, nicely done, nice and clean as well. All throughout the section here, the first sector, it's a really terrifying place to be side by side with another car. The only place you want the opportunity to overtake is the corner we're looking at right now. Bendy currently sitting in P11. He's got Scanlon ahead of him, and Horsburgh on his heels at the moment. Horsburgh has moved up, also into 3rd in the Pro-Am at the moment. And that'll be because of the incident with Neil Willett.
No, the Piper.
Yes, that would be that one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So unlucky for those others, but it was Pro-Am for the Fortune Pro-Am, I think. Oh, anyway, doesn't matter too much.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, they'll lead it, so...
Still a 55-minute race to go. As Ellis is along the fastest lap in the minute, and he's holding close to the rear end of Ashley Reynolds, you know. Reynolds isn't flying away. Look at this. Look at how tight it is right now. Ellis is right there, but through this final corner, there's going to be a lot of aero wash, but not a bad run against the Mustang. It is not going to happen.
No, that's right. We're going to go on board with Ellis. Fastest lap for Tom McDonald of 35.7. That previous lap there, I mean, they are lapping within a couple of hundredths of each other right now. The lap before this, Ellis was actually faster. Reynolds is just going to try and find the position he needs to be in with regards to the tyres or the comfort level, whatever it may be. Might be seeing a little bit of a fuel difference as well between these two, potentially, although you wouldn't imagine it. You'd usually just go with fuel. In this pit window has opened. No one has opted to take that this lap round. I suspect we will see a few jumping into the pits at the end of the current lap.
Yeah, I think a lot of them would have been cutting it a bit fine to have come into the pits on this lap, as that's a little bit of a wheel into the grass there for Ellis. That both Reynolds and Ellis are leaving McDonald a little bit in the dust here, and Lel now all over the back of McDonald.
I think I might have...
Murphy's gotten through on Convoy, by the way.
Oh yes, very nice.
Convoy's gotten back through,
isn't he? Oh, well, just as we said, the opposite has happened once again. So we've got a yellow... Yeah, it is the way, isn't it? Another yellow flag there, same corner, same place as the previous one. Kieran Reed seems to be involved in that one, the number 5 car. So there is to destroy qualifying barriers. Thank you, Convoy, for creating a nice mess out on track. Simple person's going to clean that up at the end of the race. But nonetheless, very close battle here. And also, I mean, the mandatory requirement is fuel, so we might well be seeing a fuel difference, and you could take a lower fuel amount.
Hey, that was close.
Oh, I was going to say he nearly got it slowed down, but he did not.
It didn't look like he was going to get it slowed down. That was a strange incident, but he did very well not to hit the back of another car there. Yeah, Ellis is really hustling Reynolds along here, and Reynolds has got a little bit wide. I just do wonder if there is a slight fuel load difference between the Mustang and the Lamborghini. But again, if it's just a fuel requirement for the mandatory stop, do you think just 1 litre on the mandatory would be sufficient?
Well, that's exactly it. So if that's the case, that means Reynolds probably done the right thing and put, full fuel minus 1 litre, whereas Renault Ellis might well be running potentially half fuel. I mean, it certainly looks like it's a lighter car. Here is the reason that Chris Murphy got past Convoy, goes wide. Looks like the Mustang looks like it's just got super amounts of understeer in all of it. All the cars out there, the Mustangs, look like they've got understeer.
What is grip?
You don't need it really, do you?
That's overrated.
Yeah, he's just
a little bit deep there from Reynolds, and Ellis gets the run, but that's smart car positioning there from Reynolds. He just slows up on the apex and prevents Ellis from getting the run.
Yeah, if you manage that distance well, you can always, sort of slide the car right back in front and across an apex. And yeah, that's what Reynolds is doing very, very nicely at the moment. And I get the feeling he's probably going it's definitely a 1 litre strategy difference. Here's a replay of the overtake. Convoy down the inside of Murphy. Nothing Murphy can do really there. No point sending it on the inside into the S's. So we all know that ends badly. So Murphy will have to concede the position, drops back down to P7. Convoy will begin his charge once again after Burton, who's put 3 seconds between them. So reasonable gap for Convoy to make up. Burton and Lel reasonably close on track too. And they're kind of holding on with the top pack as well. So quite impressive from not only the silver driver of Renault Ellis, but also from these 2 Pro-Am drivers keeping up with the hustle at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, particularly with Lel, I've seen quite a bit of improvement from him as the season's progressed. He's always sort of been there or thereabouts, but this is probably the most confident he's looked so far this season, and it shows. He's right there with McDonald, who isn't too far back from the lead battle with Reynolds and Ellis. So with Lel and Burton showing good pace, they could very well find themselves in the thick of things.
Yeah, too right. And the Aston Martin there for Lel, obviously looking very dialed in right now. And it is one of those things that throughout a season, you do end up feeling more and more comfortable with your setup and how the car's going to be tuned, and that will definitely be part of the equation there for Lel, but also a massive improvement to just overall ability, which is great to see, especially from a Pro-Am class driver. That'll almost certainly be a silver class badge against Lel's name, and likely Burton's too, for next season. We do see the drive-through penalty being handed out to Lewis, so that was for the dive, well, not the dive, but the missed braking zone really. And yeah, drive-through penalty, pretty heavy penalty to be handed out early on.
It's a heavy penalty, but it's definitely a fair one. That is Sykes up the inside of Perkins, and that was never going to work. I think he realised they just went a little too deep on the brakes, and if you brake just slightly later than the car ahead of you, you are bound to go into the back.
Yeah, it's a false sense of opportunity, isn't it, here at this track? You've got these big, wide, open areas into these braking zones, and then the apex of these gigantic curbs that will send your car flying into the car that you're trying to overtake, and you've got to get it absolutely right. It takes a lot of coordination with the driver that's being overtaken, as we saw with Convoy through this corner a couple of laps ago. Chris Murphy knew that he couldn't do anything about it, so had to essentially accept that situation. Obviously, it was a nice overlap that Convoy got. When you go a bit sendy, yeah, you're going to end up finding a curb somewhere, and the driver ahead is not always going to realize that you're coming through in time, unfortunately.
Yes, oh, that's close there for Ellis, and nearly into the back of Ashton Reynolds. The braking into turn 13 there is always going to be a tricky one for these drivers. As the camera 2, we've got a fight on between Ben Dyke and Scanlon by the looks of it. Scanlon holding on to P10 for the moment, but Ben Dyke, after a little bit of a disappointing qualifying performance, is starting to fight back in this race.
Yeah, they've got Horsburgh behind, still holding on to this battle, so if anything comes of it, Bendy goes for a send somewhere on Scanlon. Scanlon might find himself losing 2 positions in short order. Horsburgh's going to have to be very opportunistic. We keep throwing that word out quite often, don't we, Alexis? Opportunism. And Cameron Thistlethwaite, who's usually what we essentially coined him the opportunist, especially after that performance at the 2 races at Red Bull last time, but it'll be Horsburgh who needs to be opportunistic in terms of that battle on camera 2. And Brennan Ellis just really just needs to hold on to Reynolds at this point and either wait for a mistake, but I get the feeling Reynolds is going to be going faster and faster as the time ticks down.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's going to be an intriguing race, but so far, just over 12 minutes into this one, Reynolds has not been able to shake the Lamborghini off his rear. I think we've got a 15-second penalty there for sight to the contact on Perkins.
Yeah, that's right. And, not quite as heavy-handed as the drive-through penalty being given to Lewis, but still a pretty heavy slap. We've had a few interesting comments in chat as well. Big welcome in to everyone on YouTube at the moment watching in for Split Blue, and on the Twitch channel as well. If you haven't liked and subscribed and followed, then please do that, support the channel, make sure you get the notifications on so you know when we're going live next. At the moment, Split Blue, as you can well see in the screens right now. Horsburgh's just made a little bit of progress there on those 2, but nothing's coming of it so far. McDonald's still holding the fastest lap at 35.7. It's a very nice lap time there for McDonald. And he's put a good gap on Bell too, so he's pretty secure in 3rd spot at the moment. Doesn't need to really worry. He knows that there's a battle up ahead. So just needs to hold with them, even though he's a second and a bit out. Just needs to hold with them at this stage, and if he can do that, he may be in to catch back up to them in reasonably short order should something go awry at the top.
Yes, indeed. He's just holding his own there. He starts to break through the Croats on Lel and Burton as McDonald. He's starting to hold himself in good stead for the rest of this race. The only driver we've seen into the pits so far for a mandatory pit stop, I believe, was Perkins, who had the contact with Sykes earlier. Of course, no told Sykes got the penalty for it. But I would have expected more drivers to be in the pit, even if it would be an early one, because, well, they only need to do fuel. There's no tyres involved in this one.
I'm surprised as well, to be honest. I mean, it's especially if you're running in a battle pack too. And if you think you're faster than the driver ahead, then it's the perfect opportunity. Go in, you know, drop that 1 litre into the fuel tank, get the mandatory requirements. Oh, Bendy, oh, that's a close one. Be careful there. Lost a bit of time to scan them. But you drop into the pits, you find yourself out in clean air, and then you absolutely go and set qualifying laps for as long as your tyres can manage it. And that would seem to be the right strategy if you're running in a pack and you think you are faster than the car ahead. We also have had a comment from Mia Rose in chat. Opportunity. The only way you have fun here at Indianapolis. I think I agree with that.
Yeah, it's again, I'll say this again. It's certainly one of the tracks of all time.
Yes, it is. Yes,
here's an opportunity here for Horsburgh. He does not take it. It's probably the right call, because making a move into that 90-degree corner at turn 1, not easy.
Not easy at all. We've had a question in chat as well about refueling time being fixed. No fixed refueling time for this race.
Out front, Ellis has started to fall back from the back of Reynolds, so maybe Reynolds finally has those tyres into the operating window, as does McDonald, because McDonald has been able to close in on Ellis and break clear of Low and Burton out front, so this will be interesting from here. But maybe the Mustangs have an extra gear up their sleeves later on in the stints.
Yeah, I mean, I do get this feeling that the Fords will become a lot better at the track, and we saw them well up there in qualifying. So they've obviously got low fuel pace. I think at the moment we're seeing them with this understeer problem because they're running a high fuel, so the car's just a little bit more heavy than they would like it to be, and that's just maybe creating some opportunities for the other cars a little bit better to drive on a high fuel load. But I really do feel like in 30 minutes we're going to be saying, wow, these Fords are fast.
Yeah, again, it all depends on the tyre wear because, again, these drivers are really only going to be taking the 1 litre, so the tyres will go off quite fast. Around here, there's a lot of high-speed corners that can kill the tyres quite quick.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I mean, with good management, sure. Renault Ellis, there's the back marker being lapped there by the front runners, and it probably was a little bit less close than I thought it was, but from our angle, it did look quite close out there. Good comments in chat around what track you'd prefer over Indy. Well, I'd take Indy over Circuit of the Americas. I certainly agree with that comment. And
I disagree with the "I take Indy over Misano" comment. Misano is one of the best tracks in the game. If you do not agree with that, then you are simply wrong.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We're going to take another look at the start.
Oh.
Ooh. So Spencer just did not see the green flags there, did he?
Spencer didn't see the green flags, and he was also slightly out of position, I feel. He was probably a bit too far back, so I think the stewards will say no further action on that one.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there was not a lot that the Porsche could have done. Got on the power at the right time, and yeah, suddenly there's a car going absolutely nowhere in front of you. So a bit unlucky there, really, for Spencer, but shouldn't have picked up a huge amount of damage as a result on either car. But front splitter had damage on a Porsche. That equals less fun. Let's put it that way.
But still putting the pressure on Lel here. Cameron 2, we've got Ben Dyke still on the back of Scanlon with Horsburgh close behind. So not a lot of movement throughout the field so far in this one. I think most of this is going to come down to the pit strategies.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I mean, I don't think we're going to see many pits done at the halfway mark. Just given the settings out there at the moment, most would have probably seen those and noted that they can go pretty long. So it looks like everyone at the moment planning to go long. I get the feeling we might see a half-half strategy from Renault Ellis. That's my feeling with the speed of the car's been showing so far. I get the feeling he might be going for a longer refueling, so might have missed that trick as well with the 1 litre refuel, which would be unfortunate for him if he spends any longer in the pits than he need to. Then he'll find himself dropping out of that P2 position quite rapidly.
Another thing to note is that quite a few currently last night missed the opportunity to pit fuel together and were caught out by the pit window.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Chat also saying, well, look, we're going to go from the worst track to the best track. Yes, well, round 7 is at Bathurst, and we are all very, very much looking forward to the final round being at Bathurst. It's going to be spicy and exciting, and I really can't wait to see what split yellow, split green, blue, and red are going to throw at us for that final round, because we all know how we all like to send it around Bathurst.
And the mountain can bite at the best of times, so you have to be on your heels. Actresses in chat. Wait, is last race at Monza? That is certainly an opinion.
There's parts that might be similar.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, you have a few 90-degree corners towards the end of the track that are very, I guess you could say, are similar enough to the Lesmos.
Yeah, you know, I mean...
like you've got the chicane at the chase after a long load of straight lines, I suppose.
Yeah, the Ascari skyline, the numbers of victims taken between those corners is probably fairly similar.
Yeah.
Actually, it really doesn't compare, unfortunately, at all. I can't keep that up much longer.
No, I'm struggling to work out any more comparisons.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's gonna be a good last round. I really am looking forward to it. There's a lot of things in the standings right now for Split Blue, especially that are kind of sealed up in terms of the championship standings. That's why I'm really looking forward to seeing how the Pro-Am split's going to go, because we know that Bathurst, regardless of what happens here at Indianapolis, at Bathurst things are going to get shaken up.
Oh yes, indeed. We'll have to wait another week for that. Until then, we'll keep rolling here at Indianapolis. Horsburgh nearly running onto the grass there. If you get onto the grass there at the speed, you could very well find yourself careening into the wall as, oh my god, another near miss there. That time for Perkins and rear into the wall. That was so close to the rear end of, was that? That would have been level, right?
Don't think so.
Because Perkins is all the way down in last, pretty much.
Yeah, has done a pit stop though, so could put them in range of the top.
If that was Lel, then it was Lel. Oh my lord.
Oh, okay. Well, Lel, now to be known as Neo, has dodged a bullet there. Lee, though, Perkins, I have to admit, did see it happening, got out of it.
Yeah.
And somehow kept it out of the barrier, so that's how you avoid an incident.
Didn't quite keep it out of the barrier. He got the rear into the wall just.
Oh, was it just slightly?
It wasn't a huge amount of contact, but that is some escape there from Ashan Lel. So that battle between himself and Burt will rage on. Burton's just starting to close in a little bit more. The Honda maybe starting to show a little bit more speed. And we still haven't seen many pit stops. Currently driving who's pitted is Payno down in P20.
Yes, indeed. So a couple of deciding to go a little bit early. I wonder if they were on a fuel strategy that wasn't just throw 1 litre in the car and then get going again. Might have also just been pitting because of the damage, potentially. Lee Perkins, unfortunately, pitted, and now will have damage on the rear, as you rightly pointed out. Don't know about Payno. Don't think he's been involved in any kind of contact so far. The likes of Lewis and Piper, they'll probably be wanting to come in and repair a bit of damage at some point. But they're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that. But this battle, ooh, Burton nearly self-bullies himself into a spin. Just before the straight, does manage to get it back on the road nicely. I was just saying this was a battle that is evolving beautifully between these two Pro-Am drivers, showing good pace at the moment. They're still only a second and a half off the back of Tom McDonald, who's dropped 2.5 seconds off the back of Brenner Ellis. Ellis has unfortunately dropped down a little bit from Reynolds, so Reynolds starting to show a bit of pace ahead towards halfway through this race. A second between P1 and P2 right now.
That gap before, like a few laps ago, was about 1.5 seconds between Reynolds and Ellis. So the time is starting to come back to Brennan Ellis. So we'll have to see what happens here. But yes, as you rightly stated, Lel is starting to close back in on McDonald, whose tyres may have just started to fall off. So maybe the Mustangs are starting to struggle with their tyre wear, as Convoy has not been able to put a dent into that gap between himself and Burton, which stands at 3 seconds. As in the YouTube chat, it is nice to see Connor Hine checking out his favourite track.
Yes, indeed. I wonder how long he'll stay around here and watch. Hopefully the rest of the race. Hopefully the rest of the split red as well.
We do hope that you all stick around for Split Red. Should be a very interesting affair here at Indianapolis.
Yep.
Ellis, hello?
Oh, Ellis is gone.
Did he hit?
No, I don't think he did, because
he's disconnected. He's disconnected.
He is gone. Oh, what a shame for Breno Ellis. No. Oh, that would have been a great result as well. He had the pace. That looks good today for Breno. And to have a disconnect. I mean, not the worst track to disconnect from, let's be honest, but in a situation like this, when he's got a good result ahead of him, yeah, that's really unfortunate.
Let's watch the sadness unfold. When's the car going to teleport off into the distance?
Braking zone. Just when the load is coming onto the wheel, that wheel's suddenly going to get very, very loose, and he'll know what's happened, of course.
It'll either get very, very loose, or it will just keep turning,
Yeah,
turning,
that's right.
turning, turning, and turning. But
Oh, look.
what this does now is this battle between McDonald, Lel, and Burton is now for P2.
Yeah, and that's going to be an exciting challenge for Lel, who may not have experienced the rear wing view that is Tom McDonald ahead, and the fun that comes with trying to get ahead of Tom McDonald, who is a fierce launch defender. Yeah, exactly. You've got one good way of doing it, and that is get into the pit lane, get your pit stop done, do a couple of good out laps and laps after you come out of the pits, and just overtake him that way. Do it in the strategy.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Because getting past McDonald on a normal track is hard enough. Getting past McDonald at Indianapolis would pretty much be nigh on impossible.
Yes, that is exactly right. Not a lot of space here for overtakes, and I don't even want to imagine what might happen if you try and do ascend into a 90-degree corner.
Explosions.
Explosions will happen. Exactly.
July
Right.
4th.
Yeah. There'll be a few veterans in there wondering if the Civil War has started again. I'm sure we can find better jokes, and that was probably a pretty poor taste one. But fireworks will definitely happen, let's put it that way.
Yes, certainly. But again, starting to find his way into this as well, as Reynolds now clear of any threat from behind, although McDonald just maybe clawing the gap back a touch between himself and Reynolds, maybe knowing that there isn't a Lamborghini in between them.
Yeah, maybe he's got an extra bit of incentive here, just to push the go button a little bit harder. One thing here that is good for Breno Ellis is that he is clear in points to Chris Murphy by quite a substantial amount. It's nearly 100 points in the overall standings. So at the moment, the silver class lead with Breno Ellis isn't really affected by this disconnect. So he might find that this is not the worst thing in the world.
Drop rounds as well, a drop round in this as well, I believe. So
yes, that is true. Actually, good point. Let me crunch some numbers real quick here.
No worries, I'll let you do that as we focus on this battle here. Lel looks really fast. He's got a nice race car underneath him in that Aston Martin Honda Concept number 8 entry, and he's putting McDonald under a little bit of pressure, and it's kind of forced McDonald to pick up the pace here, and subsequently more pressure on the back of Ashton Reynolds as well, as the gap did extend in that sector, but it was down to 3.6 seconds just before.
Okay, so I think I've crunched the numbers correctly here. I get the feeling that Breno Ellis, with a drop round, assuming this will be...
Oh, Lel's in.
Good call. Good call from Lel there. That is exactly what we're saying. Get into the pit lane, get it done, especially if you're running behind the likes of McDonald.
I will say that entry into the pit lane was very, very clean. He timed his run in pretty much perfectly. Nearly got into the back of McDonald, but managed to move out of the way far enough and probably maximize that entry as much as he possibly could.
Yeah, you're right. It is a tricky one to calculate, especially given the cars ahead are going to be braking essentially on that racing line, which is it's very akin to Zolder in the pit entry there, where you've got to really judge it to perfection when the car in front is going to brake and turn in. This is when you can put the power back on and get into that pit lane. And so that was a nice bit of work there from Lel. Now the question is, will Burton decide to do the same? He finds himself in the same predicament as Lel did a little while back. And just a quick update here on the numbers before they disappear out of my head, which they inevitably will. I think Breno Ellis is still safe. I get the feeling, though, that the gap with the drop round will put Chris Murphy within shooting distance of Breno, so Breno will have to have a good race at Bathurst and finish ahead of Chris Murphy to retain Silver's championship.
Well, Breno Ellis is back into the server, thankfully, to just whether he's able to get any sort of points out of this one, which I think will be pretty tough from here.
I mean, you're 3 laps down, you're stuck in the pit lane for, what is that, a couple of minutes?
Yep.
Yeah, it's... I mean, good on them. I always take my hats off for those that disconnect and come back into the server. It's not a fun place to be. You're sitting there waiting, you're hearing the cars go past. Not a fun situation to be in, but if you get out and get driving again, you know, good on you.
Lel's found himself in a lot of clean air there. He's just come out of the pits and he's well behind Reed and well ahead of Lewis. So he's got massive amount of track here to deal with as this is the pit entry there.
Oh.
He was really pushing it and kept the speed limit, so that's good. Good entry as Burton now reacts.
Yeah, good call from Burton. I think that's the right thing to do. And this might even trigger McDonald. I mean, it depends on what kind of strategy McDonald's on. He might be running right until the pit window closes. For all we know, whoa, Piper! That is not the racing line. That is a barrier and a bit of grass. Does get it back on track though, but Piper, that was a huge moment for the Audi driver. Neil Wood would be looking at his rear mirror going, what on earth are you thinking? Here's Burton coming through the pits into the exit now. In that
Lel is
Honda.
still a long way back here. Has Lel... Oh, it's Lel... Lel... Don't tell me. Don't.
Oh, it's happened. Yeah. So that, to my eyes, is a pit refueling difference. A big one.
Absolutely. That, deal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for those who have yet to figure this out, if you see a mandatory requirement of fuel, no fixed refueling time on a 60-minute race, you fuel up with 1 liter. You put 1 liter in the car while you're in the pit stop, and that is the fastest way to pit. You do not want to be stationary for, you know, up to what 15, 20 seconds to put half a tank of fuel in.
And I think that is pretty much what Lel has done there, and he's now
That's 20 seconds
behind.
Yeah, 20 seconds. Luckily there's no cars in between, but that will shortly change once the rest of the grid hits, and that'll be what, P3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7.
Yeah,
no, be more than that.
That's provided everyone actually just goes 1 liter.
Yes, that's assuming everyone's done the faster strategy in the pit stop, of course, which, yeah, given what we've seen already, may be up for debate, I think.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, I think. We'll just
let's
have
not
to
jump
wait.
to any conclusions, yeah.
But for the moment, Reynolds and McDonald are still out there on track. They're just coming into the final sector now. Reynolds will stay out there. He's going to go as long as he possibly can. McDonald, I think, is still going as well by the looks of things. Yes, he is. Convoy stays out. So far, the only drivers who have taken the opportunity or stop without being forced to, it's Burton, Lel, Horsburgh, and Painter. Oh, and Bracken, I believe, as well, potentially.
Oh, so we've been called out in chat, Alexis. Is Lel pronounces Lel or Lele? And it is, I've just checked it, it is Lele. So it is Ishan Lele, who's an Indian driver, and that is how you pronounce it. We have been calling him the wrong thing.
Well, thank you for pointing out in chat. I've just been going along with what has been said previously, so that is on me. I should have looked on that as well. But thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, that is one of the harder things to get right in commentary booths, is the pronunciation of everyone's names, and we have certainly used the wrong one there, so we will correct that going forward. But thank you for calling that out, whoever that was in chat. Thank you very much. We're an honest comms box here, Alexis.
Yep.
We'll correct ourselves if we make mistakes. That's how it goes.
Yep. So yeah, Lele is probably ruining the pit mistake there, taking the extra fuel that probably didn't need to be taken, and that could potentially explain why Lele had the pace before. But Burton still on pretty well at the minute, as that is going to be very deep there for Paino and Bracken should right on through.
Yeah, Bracken kept having to open it up. Did see the deep entry for Payno, and Payno just got it a bit wrong, unfortunately. Is Brent Sykes coming through? It's a blue flag, of course. Through goes Sykes very nicely, still holding onto a 15-second penalty. I also wanted to say that I think Breno Ellis might have been in a similar position to Lele as well. Just get this sinking suspicion that might have been the case, but unfortunately we probably will never get to know. Unfortunately, ooh, close one for Cam. Come on.
It was a little bit of a war graze, Now he's under immense pressure from Johnston behind, who did not run wide onto the grass there into the final corner, and in on the brakes. Johnston brakes late, does actually scare Thistlethwaite into a mistake, and now Johnston up into P5 at the moment on track.
Yeah, that is the way to do it at Indianapolis, isn't it? It's forced a mistake from the other driver. You know, create your own luck, create your own opportunities at a circuit like this. Yeah,
no, it was great opportunism from Johnston there on Mr. Opportunism himself.
Yes, that's right. Yes, we might just think of switching up the nickname, who knows, but a couple of tyres. Shouldn't be any worse for wear there for Cam Thistlethwaite. Got Scanlon bearing down on them though, so this battle Scanlon and Bendy coming up fast to these two. So if Cam has the pace on Ashley Johnston, which at the moment, given Josh Johnston's starting to really pull away, well, not actually, not that much through the S's now that I think about it. This is putting a bit of pressure on Cam.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see how Cam reacts, whether he chooses to roll into pit lane or keep going for a little bit longer. But at the moment, to this one, as he's going to stay out there. Pretty much everyone else is too, so I have a feeling we're not going to see these pit stops until the very last run. We're going to get a proper, almost like a Kranich-like strategy where you're worried if they're actually going to pit.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They've got a pit window closes at 55 minutes, so they'll have to get that absolutely right. Just as 5 minutes comes onto the clock, they're going to need to be in the pit lane, getting their pit stop done. I don't think, is it on pit
It's on pit entry.
Yes, so as long as you get to the 5 minute mark and you're on the pit entry line, you should be absolutely fine. But, you know, safe, better to be a bit safer than sorry, I think, at this stage, and you'll probably be seeing most of it somewhere between the 10 and the 6 minute mark. But I mean, you know, we could say points to whoever gets closest.
I mean, yeah. I'd want to put a bet on it, but it would be like one of those things that's actually possible, and so you wouldn't want to put anything too heavy on it.
No, you very much get it wrong, or you very much get it right. And to be in the right on that, you have to be basically planning that from about 39 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. Johnson is now starting to break clear of that from Scanlon and Bendage behind.
The tyres on the Bentley not looking in the best situation at the moment. It has been losing a lot of rear to start to slide out quite a bit. That is a much better way of taking the final corner there from Cam as well. Last two corners have been, well, one of them was far too close to the barrier. One of them was very close to the barrier. That was a much better exit. So the tyre temps just throwing a little bit of a curveball to Cam at the moment.
Yeah, potentially. I'm noticing that there's a bit more understeer being dialed into that Bentley. That's probably been unwanted. See how it goes. Still 20 minutes left in this one. Meanwhile, further down, Burton is stuck behind Reed, who's just coming to the pits. So Burton's ended up losing a lot of time to Lele, and will also lose a fair bit of time to McDonald.
Exactly right. Horsburgh is still maybe in this. No, it's 20 seconds behind Lele, so probably no real chance to get up ahead of Lele at the moment. Love this shot here. Beautiful work from Benjamin Hignett as always. Shout out in chat. Everyone give this man a round of applause, Benjamin Hignett. amongst our other awesome broadcasters, doing a fantastic job for us in Split Blue. Now, just under 20 minutes remaining in this race. Breno Ellis has gone out and said, you know what, I might not be able to get good points for position, but I can take that fastest lap away from everyone else, and he's certainly done that right now at 35.397. And given no one else is going to be taking tyres throughout this race, that is going to stand.
As Ben actually comes into the pits, but yeah, definition of that for Ellis is a yoink.
Yeah, that's right.
As here is Eshan Lele in P14, and there is Breno Ellis, who's had an unfortunate run in this race. In fact, it was the last lap that was his best lap so far.
Yeah, I just can't stop taking my hats off to that man, because you're running P2, it's looking really good. Your championship points are important, given that you're running around the top of silver category, and then you have a disconnect. Jump back in, it's not that bad, affect you too much, and then jump back in and continue racing, even if it's just to take the fastest lap in this race. Hats off to him, good stuff. Getting very here and there for Cam, keeps dropping a couple of tyres off, and as you said before, the understeer with that Bentley, rather fierce at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just not quite hooking up for Campus plate at the minute, and BMW is getting some pressure. But with Mendy coming into the pits, I just wonder if tries having a little bit behind 17. Breno Ellis is a lap down, but positionally he's behind Lele.
Is he though?
Yes. The sector mark hasn't been reached yet.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it has come out behind.
You guys just update.
There it is. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, the old sector 1 marker.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. My worst enemy.
I will see what the gap is like. It's 11.6 seconds.
Yes, it's not impossible to catch up in 17 minutes, but you have to be going at a pretty rapid pace.
Yes.
So, probably a little bit of a stretch there for Bendy to get ahead of Lele, but at the moment I think Lele just needs to focus on race recovery at this stage. I feel like the gap between Lele and Burton might have come.
This is always the trouble of pitting early. If no one else pits early, well, good luck. Overtaking here, and
I think it might just be them. No, service still running. I can see it, and the overtake was done successfully. So Tom Kidman was.
Here we go.
There we go. That's a bit better. Cameras will catch up to us eventually, but yeah, nice little onboard there with Piper. No, Logan Bowden did get up ahead into P10. Finally, did make that move, and you were mid-thought as that happened, Alexis.
Yeah, because all of a sudden there was a car there, and all of a sudden it gone.
Yeah, it was very much gone. But I think that comes back to what we were saying before. To get an overtake here, you have to have a cooperative overtakee, so to speak. And Kidman wasn't going to fight that one, luckily for Burton. He was, just slowly sort of loomed in and sort of said to Kidman, "Well, I'm going to be there. So if you turn in, it's kind of on you, that one."
Yep. So Burton now back into the top 10. But I don't know. I think he's lost too much time in overtaking slower cars to fight it out with McDonald. But it's going to be tight, I'd say, between himself and Convoy to the end of this one. Ford trying to lock out the podium here. Will they do it? Or will Logan Burton spoil the party for the Americans?
We're not sure if it was the bathroom PC or the fridge PC that died. It is one of those.
The
Might be the toaster PC.
Non-sponsored.
The smart, yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Smart toaster getting involved in it as well. That's what does all the broadcast apps themselves. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get an update from Benjamin. Let's let the chat messages roll, of course. Yeah. Question here is, so I mean, it is, as you said before, with regards to strategy, you either pit early or you go long. If you're pitting in the middle, you run that risk of jumping out into a bunch of traffic. Very deep there from Cam. He's going to lose a position, maybe. Or Scanlon might not be able to hang around the outside. But will have the inside line, so he's got it.
And on the marbles there, you're going to be asking a lot of the car, Mr. Fizzleblade, and he's lost the position at Scanlon. But now, run down the straight, is Cam going to have a go into turn 1? He brings the car out side by side to turn 1. This is going to be nice and tight as we get into the corner, and he does it. That's clean.
That's nice. Yeah, had good pace there from the Bentley on the BMW. And managed to get side by side, beautiful launch down the inside, and it was all said and done. A momentary look at the front end of Bendique's car from behind Lele, I should say.
Well, it wasn't Lele, that was a Mustang to front board with, so
Been a back marker
where is the 73 on the track? Oh, it's behind Reynolds.
Yes.
So the complete opposite of a back marker.
Literally the opposite, yeah. Looking at a car that was going to start moving away in the forward direction.
And most certainly has. The gap between Reynolds and McDonald has stayed steady at about 4.3 seconds.
Piper has come into the pits as well now. He's sitting in there for just that little bit longer. Still the top 8 yet to pit, and we've got Kidman and Brooker still to pit as well. Lewis still to pit, has served his drive-through penalty he got for that lap 1 send. Big slap on the wrist there.
Probably a correct slap on the wrist,
yes.
Considering the scale of that incident. Murphy there, currently P4 doing nicely. Kidman in, he still needs to make the stop. Hasn't been too bad. Burton's got a big gap between himself and Sykes at the moment, so shouldn't encounter too much traffic for the time being, and can just set about putting in some fast lap times. The gap between himself and Lele down to what is about just 9.6 seconds, if my math's correct. 9.7 seconds.
Yeah, it's about right. Almost put a glimpse of Lele in the background as we saw camera go across Burton's car, but just the end of the distance, so not super clear, but you know, nonetheless, that will be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Gap has been rapidly closing, but only 12 minutes now remaining in this race. At least the conditions have stayed very, very stable, Alexis, all the way throughout. It's not rained, it's not really changed temperature, even the wind hasn't really done anything, so it's been a very stable day out here at Indianapolis for Split Blue.
Convoy has come into the jersey. Yes, he has. So here's the one of the front-running forwards into the pits. Now, how long is he going to be stopped for? Can you guess?
A short time. Medium time? Yes.
I think he got pushed back there a little bit.
He must have, yeah.
Because that was a long time, and the cars sort of like jolted, so I think Convoy missed his box.
Oh dear, Jamie Convoy, that could mean that board 1, 2, 3 is out of range. Scanlon also in the pit.
Is coming through the final corner now, and it is going to be tight. It is going to be very tight, but Burton will have this overspeed and should be able to get through.
Yeah, it's going to pass initially, and Convoy is still running down the pits right now. Yeah, Burton will go on through. Oh, it's going to be... Oh, Convoy was pushing on the line there. Closer than I thought it was going to be, but yeah, at least he's nice and close now, so Convoy will have a chance at an overtake here. Burton's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I think that just shows how much time Burton lost in the trying to overtake some slower cars there, because before he was fighting right up there with McDonald and is now having to battle out for what should be the final spot on the podium with Jamie Convoy, who just went very, very deep there into turn 6.
Indeed. That's all, and he's going for style points. Is Jamie Conboy? You gotta respect it. He's pushing
He has to bring the tire
forward.
temperature back into those tires because
Yes.
they will have lost some heat during that pit stop.
And what better car to be able to do that in is a car where the rear end does not want to stay in a straight line.
What is a rear end anyways? Just throw
Well,
it through lid off.
Yeah, the Ford drivers certainly don't know, that's for sure. They're quite comfortable with the sideways momentum.
Johnston is in, and we'll see how long he is stopped for as he rolls into his pit box now.
See, time is ticking up. Yep. Should be going. There we go.
That was a fair bit faster than Convoy, so I do think either Convoy had a little bit of damage to repair, which is probably unlikely, although he's just hit the wall there, so maybe it is kind of likely. Or he missed his box.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, unless the car's really underperforming, you know, he was out there for a long time with whatever damage he's had. Unless he got it, you know, in the last lap or two, he would have been holding the damage quite fine for a long period of time. But I don't know if it's. I'm skeptical about repairing the damage.
Reynolds is in.
There we go. Leader comes in.
McDonald
31
stays
laps.
out. You would think McDonald has the opportunity to go 1 or 2 more laps. How tight does he push it?
What was the gap between them though? It was
4 seconds between
5
McDonald
seconds?
and Reynolds.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can imagine the look on Reynolds' face if he finds that McDonald suddenly is out there in front of him.
Good stop for Reynolds. That was quick.
Okay, so it shouldn't be a problem for Reynolds. Murphy's in as well. So we're waiting on the likes of Cam Thistlethwaite, Brent Sykes, Tom McDonald, Steve Lewis, and Bretto Ellis also has to pit again because he missed his mandatory because he had that disconnect. So only 5 drivers left on the grid to pit. This will be the key one to see the gap when McDonald does pit. Reynolds should be coming out momentarily. There he is, back out on track. And he'll be going again.
Just be ahead of the lap car of Sykes as this is Thistlethwaite into Le Pit de Laine. Clean for him. Murphy coming out now and comes out behind probably Lele at this stage. And yeah, he will be behind Lele.
Okay, so
The Convoy did find a fair amount of time as McDonald now rolls into the pit lane, and he will be the second to last driver into the pits because Ellis is into the pits, so it's just Sykes now.
right, well, Sykes obviously has the penalty to serve as well. So we'll be stationary for an extra 15 seconds.
That's huge.
It is massive, of course. Here's Ashton Reynolds coming up towards the last little sector. Reynolds in the pit, still sitting there at the moment.
Now moving, but Reynolds should be clear.
Oh, it should be. I mean, it's such a long pit lane here. That is, well, that is, you know, yeah, around again, unfortunately. Looks like he's just got going, so it should be no problem for the rest of the cars. Into the last corner for Reynolds. The number 3 of McDonald is only about.
McDonald will be easily P2 here.
Yeah, it's not going to be a question about it.
There goes Reynolds flying past now. McDonald hits the pit line there, and there is no sign of Burton in the distance. So a clear P2 there for McDonald, and Burton still holding on to P3 for the moment, just ahead of Convoy by 2.3 seconds. So Convoy has a lot of work to do in this last couple laps.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to find a way to be extremely fast and also sideways in this car through the last lap. But I believe in the dream, and we'll see if Convoy can also believe in the dream and get that car wrangled enough. It truly is a car to wrangle around an American circuit. American style. That's not helping though. That is not helping.
No
it's
rally
just
cross.
No rally cross. That's right. You can't take shortcuts across the track here either. And that is going to let Burton get away with it just a little bit more. But yeah, Burton's looking good potentially for that P3 finish as the pit window does close. Everyone got in time. No one cut it too late. last one there to pit was, well, Breno did actually get in, so it was Breno and Sykes.
That was Sykes.
That was Sykes. Sykes was the last one, okay.
Breno,
well done, Brent Sykes.
Breno got in just before McDonald came in.
Ah, okay. There we go. Points, unofficial points awarded there to Brent Sykes for leaving it to the last couple of seconds. Pitting and serving his penalties.
Wasn't able to leave it to the 5-minute mark exactly, so no points awarded.
Fair enough. You know, I think that's fair. It's got to be exactly on the 5 minutes. Even if they have to sit there, stopped in front of the pit lane, just waiting for the 5-minute, 1 second mark. Nonetheless, Ashley Johnston and Cameron Thistlethwaite, battle that's been going on a fair while, does continue. Scanlon's a little further back from this though at the moment. 4 minutes to go. So Cam's got to do something pretty incredible here, or Ashley's going to have to make a mistake for this battle to continue. It is, of course, for P7 at the moment. Chris Murphy's been having a nice quiet one in P6. Nothing to write home about, really.
If the camera's not showing you, then you're probably doing a nice, clean race, or not really in the thick of things. And for Murphy, it's been a nice, smooth race for him. So P6 now, he will take that, but probably a little bit disappointing he hasn't been able to challenge the Pro-Am cars. Then again, take nothing away from Burton and Lely's drives today.
Yeah, too right. We've had a lot of people asking in chat for rain and split red. Well, I think given that we've not given rain through a commentator's curse to this lobby for split blue, just maybe there might be a little bit of rain on the way for a split red. We'll see. We've got to leave it up to the server gods at the end of the day and see what they decide.
We can do some tinkering around the break between the end of this race and the start of the split red qualifying. There will be a little bit of quiet time in between. Just await the start of split red for the commentators for split red, which will be it's currently Convoy, who's under a lot of pressure from Lele, who's been driving like an absolute machine after the stop. I wonder if Lele actually took tyres in the stop.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well, because the amount of grip that Aston has out there at this point is substantially different.
Last lap was a 35.9. That is substantially faster than pretty much anyone out there on track, except for maybe Breno Ellis.
Oh, yeah, and Breno Ellis, we know almost certainly will have had fresh tyres. So, yeah, I think Lele has almost certainly taken fresh tyres. That is a problem for Jamie Convoy, if that is the case, because that Aston is going to be pretty racy in the last 2 minutes, and Convoy's looking a little bit sideways on a lot of the corners.
Yeah, well, this is the penultimate lap of this race. You would think Burton at this stage is clear, but Lele might still be able to snag P4 from the Mustang here. It's not going to be easy, but with the pace advantage he has, it could very well happen here. He's just going to take his opportunity.
Oh!
Too deep on the brakes, but can he pull it up? No.
No. Oh, for a moment, though, it looked like might have just been able to get the braking in, but that was a send and a half.
Yeah, and I think his opportunity may have just escaped there after that. Probably a little bit desperate, more desperate than it needed to be, but still opportunistic, and opportunity is the only way you can have fun in
Yeah, we've established that as an unequivocal fact, I think. That said, I think opportunism without patience can sometimes be over-eagerness very, very easy. It's a very fine line to balance between that. Might have been a bit of a more sensible idea just to wait for this long pit straight here.
Oh, hello, he's still
there.
No, he's still there.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
still
hold on. It's actually a lot closer than I thought this was going to be, but, I mean, Jimmy Convoy's putting the car defensive, doesn't want to give a slipstream to the Aston. 38 seconds to go, there is 1 lap left, so... Oh my goodness! Okay.
Yeah, that was my one worry about that. Jamie Convoy went off the line, put all the rubber onto his tyres, and probably lost a fair bit of grip going through turn 1, turn 2 as well.
Yeah, and that means that there is opportunities aplenty still here for Lele, and clearly willing to take an opportunity and send it if the opportunity arises.
Yep, and what's the exit like coming out of turn 7? It's not too bad, you know, he's right there, and Convoy a little bit onto the grass. It's going to be forced the long way around by Jamie Convoy. The race is just about run. It's going to be Reynolds who will take this one out from McDonald and Burton, but who's going to take P4 in this one? Convoy defending like a lion out there to hold off against the Aston. And now he's compromised his run a little bit through turn 11 and turn 12. Loe is going to have an opportunity into the final chicane, and Reynolds crosses the line to take the victory here. It's round 6. Loe up the inside. There's a little bit of contact. Convoy holding on for now. What is the exit going to be like? Convoy, he's a little bit deep. Lele's got a nice run up to the line. Lele's going to have the grip. Will Convoy have to go on the throttle? No. Convoy is going to hold on to P4. Brilliant defending.
Stunning defense. It was that last couple of corners there. Convoy sitting it on the apex correctly, not giving Lele an opportunity to do any kind of overlap. Absolutely key. As we came across the line, it was closer than I think we thought it was going to be, especially with the big sender mistake from Lele. But very impressive driving from both of them. Very nearly an opportunity there for P4 for Lele. Convoy will hold on, though. We've got 3 forwards in the top 5 finishing this race.
Based on the quality of the replays we're getting here, I have a feeling there's been a graphics card that has corked itself on one of the computers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, performance mode. We're in performance mode now. There we go.
Performance mode.
Yep. Oh dear. Well, we could make jokes aplenty about that. I'm sure chat would be going at it, but love that. Performance mode, and then suddenly, 60 frames a second. Looking at the battle here, that's Kidman behind Neil Wood. This is for the P14 spot. I don't think that's going to be an opportunity left now for Kidman. They'll come across the line in short order. Neil Wood will take home P14. It's going to be 5th overall in Pro-Am class for Neil Wood. Kidman 6th. There's the checkered flag being waved once again. Great camera angle there from Ben, as always. Love to see it. And of course, that is going to be our race here at Indianapolis, round 5.
Round 6.
Round 6, I should say. I said round 5 because we saw R4 in the top right-hand corner there. Nonetheless, I digress. But for round 6 at Indianapolis for Split Blue.
Yes, indeed. We'll have a look at some results for you. The qualifying results, it was Reynolds from Ellis, McDonald, Lele, and Convoy, your top 5. For the race, it was Reynolds, McDonald, Burton on the podium. Well done, Convoy and Lele, your top 5. Silver class, it was Murphy, Johnston, and Scanlon. Your Pro-Am class, it was Burton from Lele and Horsburgh. And then in the M class, Brooker on his own.
Nice work there from Brooker. He's leading M class at the moment in the standings, so that's a good result for him, and he'll continue to work his way towards an M class win this season by the looks of it. Good result there for Burton. Lele needed that, especially with Horsburgh that far down the grid. That's going to make the battle very close in the Pro-Am class, and that is a battle I am very much looking forward to seeing evolve at Bathurst next week. It's going to be fantastic.
Yes, indeed it will be. We've got about 8 minutes here until Split Red commences, so we'll have a little bit of a break in proceedings here, but we'll be back once Split Red qualifying starts, and it will be then Neil Haynes and Jamie Convoy sending us away for what should be an exciting Split Red.
Yep, do the rain dance, do the rain dance, do the rain dance. Hopefully everyone has some fun in Split Red. But thank you, Alexis.
Imagine if it fucking rains for red. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, that's what we're hoping. We're hoping that we, by not cursing Split Blue and your guys' race, that somehow it's going to somehow move the curse over onto Split Red. I've got my fingers crossed, and I'll do a rain dance after the commentary here. Thanks, Alexis, for being in the comment box as well, mate. I appreciate that, and thanks, Ben, for the broadcasting too.
Yes, thank you, Cookie. It's a pleasure to jump in again, and we'll be back next week for the final round at Bathurst, but now we'll bid you adieu.
pit lane. Go, go, go.
Welcome to OOR Simrigs Sprint Series Split Red for round 6, the penultimate round of the series. Oh, my commentator Neil Haynes alongside me is Jamie Conboy. Welcome, JC.
Hello, Neil. Hello, chat. Hello, Ben Hignett behind the cameras. Hello, everyone. Yeah, let's get ready for Indianapolis. Goodness gracious. It's been a little bit flat over the last couple of days, and I think everyone's sort of dislike of this track is starting to shine through pretty clearly now, because I mean, the 1 week we haven't got rain, it sounds like this is the track we needed rain, Neil.
Yeah, by all sounds of it, it's been a little bit of a procession type racing, but I think this Split Red has got a little bit up its sleeve, so I would not be going to bed early at this stage. So I'll get that cup of tea going, and we'll see how this qualifying session rolls, but definitely I think we'll wait and see. There's quite a lot going on in the championship though, JC, and there's a few drivers that are really vying to get onto that top spot too, to take a victory. We go back to the single race format here as well for round 6 after the Brent very wet round, as we were talking, at Red Bull last week.
Absolutely, Peach leading the way in the championship, and I believe he's here tonight. Speaking of here tonight, there's not a lot here tonight, only 17 showing up for Split Red tonight. So yeah, a bit of a low turnout to Indianapolis. Not sure whether that's a reflection of the track, but as you said, if there's anyone who can turn it on for us content-wise, it is Split Red, SRO Asia. So let's have a look. John Seneka's out there in the Honda. The Honda looked pretty strong here in Split Blue, so let's see if John can drag any pace out of it here in Split Red. And most of the main players are here, Lucas Keys, and I can only see one Seneka, so I don't know whether that's just me or whether my eyes are deceiving me, but that is John Seneka's on camera. I can't see the other Senecas, and he has marked in on the OOR attendance sheet, so perhaps just some issues. I don't know whether he's going to turn up late. Might go and find out where he is.
Yeah, definitely may as well go and do that while we have a look on board here of John in the Honda. And we're going to actually see as well, Lucas Keys is the only driver. He's actually vying for 3 victories in this championship. He won the opening round of race 1 at Brands Hatch, and also won the last race last week at Red Bull. So he's trying to back it up to see if he can get 3 victories in the season. The only driver that's vying for that at this stage. Chris Cooley has got 1 win. Shady Samuel's got 1 win. JP Sonic has won at Donington. Chris Sang has actually won both the doubles at Laguna Seca, so he's one of the drivers too. So we'll look for Sang, but it doesn't look like he's on the list either, so he may not be showing up. So Lucas Keys could well and truly be the man that we may be seeing up on victory lane at the end of this hour race later on. There's JC just double checks to see if Peach is actually going to make this race tonight.
There was a couple in chat saying that he's having internet issues, so I wouldn't be surprised if the man on camera, John Senakis, has gone over and pulled his bloody cable out on him. A bit of brotherly love. He's just snuck on over at his brother's house and pulled his cable out, I reckon, is what's happened there.
Oh, well, there you go. So we'll wait and see, and obviously, hopefully he may do it in return. As he just goes over the strip here, let's see where John gets it. The 555. And he gets just in front of Colt Johnson as everyone's filtering through here, and it looks like Moreno Pradama, who took out that victory. Actually, no, it's not Pradama, is it?
Pradama and Moreno are 2 separate Mercedes, you're right. Tom Maloney, nice quick time up there in the Porsche. Yeah, but I think Pradama's going to be here as well. Yeah, he has marked in as well, so there's a few obviously having either turning up late or connection issues. There he is, Pradama. He's put it on pole, 34.7. He is 7/10 clear with a 34.7. Hello, that is quick. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's he's just showing that true form as he was showed it in the wet in race 1. He came on and just said, "Welcome, fellas. I'm here to race," and took victory on his first showing in the Sprint Series for 2024, and he's continuing in on his good form here in qualifying. Let's see if he continue it on, because I don't think it's actually probably set in concrete for this pole at this stage. you might know a little bit more, JC, but what the pole time was in your session earlier, but that's pretty quick there.
It was one Ashlyn Reynolds on pole in blue. I think it was a 34.8. It was definitely a 34. It was either a 34.8 or a 34.9, and that was, that's about as quick as I could imagine him going. I can't imagine any sort of mid-30s four, and Pradham's just gone and done a 0.7 on his friggin' outlap. So I wonder how low he can actually get it. Maybe he can find and drag a bit more time out of that. That's ridiculous pace, 34.7. I'm having to double check that. In a Mercedes, no less. I wasn't sure the Mercedes is particularly quick around here. I know Jay Sweeney as one of our Wednesday drivers, and he was trying to drag pace out of the Mercedes and saying he wasn't having a great deal of fun with it. So clearly the LOR gang have got it figured out. 34.5 he now improves to.
So those times are just reducing, so he's definitely got that set up very, very well. And what can Sonicus do? John's coming around now, just following the Porsche, I think, of, is it Vinny?
Carlos Johnson, that'll be.
Carlos.
In that beautifully skinned Porsche. Yeah, he'll, I don't know if he'll be getting a little bit of aero wash here from the Porsche, but it's not costing him too much. Still hanging on to a 10th here through the middle sector, and seemed to have gained a little bit too out of there. So he'll be just hoping that Carlos nails these last couple of corners, or I reckon he's going to cost him a bit of time, is Carlos, and in fact he does. Just loses a little bit on entry there and never really gained it back on exit. So now he's going to hope that the toe manages to get some of it back, but Carlos is on a lap himself, of course, so has absolutely no obligations whatsoever to jump out of the way. He's going to improve, but only barely, and John was probably looking at picking up a couple of tenths there and had to, unfortunately, lose out there to Carlos's valid lap. So not quite getting the outlaps right there, the Kovacs boys.
And Mike's looking to get into the top 10 if he can continue around a little bit wide there, costing himself a lot of time there. So I think he's gaining it again here in this BMW, doing good on entry, but costing a lot mid-corner as he's pushing in and probably running a little bit understeer and can't get that power on. But he was looking to be up in the top 10 before he ran a little bit wide, so no positions gained or lost there.
Hey,
that's about losing it. There's Angelo Gonzalez taking a spin up into P11, so that's not too bad. Just pushing a little bit too hard, trying to get the most out of that Mercedes. As Fezzer is almost fainting there in the chat. Can't believe it, 34.5 that we saw from the Mercedes so far.
Disgusting time, Piper. I agree. And we've still got 4 minutes to go in the session too. So whilst there isn't going to be a lot of track evolution because it's optimum in 22:30, it's about as optimum as it's going to be. He's still got the ability to push and cut a little extra corner here and go a little bit wider on exit in some places. He's potentially still got time in that lap, so that's just properly quick from Pradham. And Lucas Keys here is going to be wrangling the OP Aston around as quickly as he can, but I don't see him closing a half a second gap.
Definitely doing his best, isn't he? He's doing a good job. And Maloney's coming around now. He's going to get a few positions, maybe challenge John Sonicus in that Honda. Losing a little bit of that final corner, but yes, he just jumps in front of the Honda. He'd be happy with that. Getting the Porsche up there. There was a few Porsches last night running around as well. So
yeah, good little mix of manufacturers up the top there too. We saw split Ferrari dominated. Yes, I think the top 6 in split yellow was Ferraris. So that was an interesting watch. Those guys all carrying a lot of extra weight too. The Ferrari I think is plus 26 here or something extravagant. So Shady Samuel here just having to carry an extra baby around with him in the passenger seat. And he's doing pretty well to be only 8/10 off the pace. I say 8/10 off the pace. He's really only 3/10 off, the front guys. And then you've got Pradham out there in a league of his own kind of things. He's Verstappening his way around. But Shady here is well and truly ensconced in the top 6 here at least. And not going to gain too much on this lap. I think the ACC Delta will suggest that that's not an improvement, but he's got another couple of laps left in him yet. Pete Viney here as well is only 2 seconds back, but he's got 3/10 in the bag as we come through these tricky little S's here. And assuming he cuts enough, he's not actually cut enough of that. I would suggest he's got a lot more that he can do there to get a bit more pace, and it cost him a little bit on exit. So just under 3/10 now he's got in the bag as he lines up. Doesn't really use all of the track on entry, but in fact gains a 10th. So there is time in this lap if Pete Viney manages to hit his marks and use all of the entrances and exits. There's plenty of corners here that you can cut a lot more than you do in the race anyway. In qualifying, you want to cut them because it's not going to cost you anything. But in race pace, you don't want to cut them too much. It destroys your tyres really quickly. So Pete Viney will have another go at trying to cut some more corners. He's up in a P9 there, I think that was.
Yeah, I think he is. Is he teammates with Cole Johnson? Because that's a similar sort of livery, but obviously just got the green base to it, I think.
Yeah, correct. They are teammates. Viney does all the liveries for the Kovacs lads, so there's plenty of Kovacs drivers in this split. You will see plenty of Pete Viney's work going around. Lucas Keys here, nice little find. He's got 2/10 that he's picked up and put onto the board, and that takes him up to P2 in front of Moreno. Not far in front of Moreno, so if Moreno's got another 10th or 2 in him, he can pinch that back. John Senekis has put the Q in the rack. He's sitting in the pit lane and will not improve. Shady Samuel here with 4/10. Sneaks into the 34s, does Shady Samuel, and up into P3. Nice lap.
Yeah, obviously looking forward to trying to have a better outing. He's been struggling a little bit after his win that he had at Massano in round 2, so hopefully some good luck, good fortune comes his way for this race.
Definitely not on a flyer here is Tom Maloney. He's a couple of 10ths down and won't have enough time to get another one. So wherever Tom Maloney is where he will start. I think he's definitely inside the top 10. Poor old Macaulay here had half a second in the bag as he was coming around the first couple of corners there. But as he heads up now into turn 5, turn 6, he threw it all away and then he gained a bit more. So there's plenty more in this lap for Macaulay. When he gets into race pace, hopefully he can move his way up the grid because he's got plenty of time in that first sector at least. Moreno here firing into turn 11. Tricky brake marker there at turn 11. There is actually no real brake marker at turn 11 just because of the way the brake boards work. So you kind of got to guess a lot of the time. But it looked like he got it pulled up nicely there. Carl Johnson's got a 2/10 as he comes around what I think is the last corner. And a little bit more on exit there too. So this will net him nothing. Oh, it does get him one spot by 15 thousandths of a second. He pinches a spot from Satria.
That's almost an eyelash, isn't it there, JC?
Yeah, that's a bee's dick and less.
And
Tom Maloney.
Maloney.
I thought Tom Maloney wasn't going to be able to improve, but he must have got around for one more, so that's good. We'll go check out how he's going later. Macaulay did find half a second in total, but as I said, he had half a second in the first sector before he threw that away, so plenty more in that lap from Macaulay. Hopefully he finds that in his race pace. And as we were watching before, this is Maloney coming around the tricky turn 13, 14 complex now. Flat for most cars, this 14, and it is in qualifying pace for the Porsche. So he will grab a 10th as well, which may get him P5. Probably not. He's just going to miss out. Yeah. It's 68 thousandths the gap between John Senekis and Tom Maloney. So Jean-Pierre not qualifying, even if he does manage to fix his internet, which I'm not sure if he will. I haven't seen him yet. No word coming through the chat that he's managed to fix it. Our championship leader is not participating in the Indianapolis, I was going to say 500, it's the 60.
That's it. And just to add to that, also Chris Sang isn't here either, who's coming second in the championship. So that leaves Lucas Keys, who's third, 50 points behind JP. He's obviously in the box seat here. But just remember that all the drivers do have a drop round as well throughout the series. So JP might be lucky there just to take this as his drop round, as Chris Sang as well. So, but anyway, there'll be a bit of a shake-up after this round.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the grid, so it should be a fairly clean start, one would hope, with less cars filtering down into this opening corner.
I'm kind of curious now, actually, what this is going to do to the championship. So who we got in P3? Because with Jean-Pierre and Sang not racing, Lucas Keys in P3, is only 50 points off the lead.
And then
So-
Shady Samuel's about another 103 points behind Lucas Keys, I believe. So in 4th position. So
yeah, a big night here for Lucas Keys and Shady Samuel. As I said, there is a drop round. So, but yeah, with Jean-Pierre having not had a drop round so far, and obviously we all know Bathurst can throw up absolutely anything. You want to make sure that you bank your points as often and as consistently as you can. So big night here for Lucas Keys and Shady Samuel, especially for Shady. Shady last round only scored 54 points, so he'll want to make that his drop round. He'll want a strong performance here, and then a strong performance next week. That'll put him right back in the calculations if he can get rid of that 54 off of his points haul. Sorry. And then Carlos,
camera shot here of the American flag on the timing board. Isn't this a great shot?
he's pretty bloody good, Ben Hignett, isn't he?
He is. He's got all the views.
I was going to say he's underappreciated, but I actually think we all do appreciate the work that Ben does. He's very quickly stamped himself in the cameras, in the booth. He's bloody handy on the cameras.
Makes our job a little bit easier, doesn't it, Jamie?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's got the camera pointed in all the right place. That's the easy part, I guess, is having the camera pointed in the right place. You just look at the deltas and you say, oh look, there's a battle going on here. But it's the angles that he finds and the picturesque shots that he gets. We watched the sunrise together in Austria. Wasn't that cute?
Oh, it was very cute. Arm in, shoulder to shoulder.
I felt
The
more
comms
connected to you.
But in the chat as well, they're also, where's the Mustang? As Brad Cook saying. So no Mustang in split red. They haven't showed up. I think we saw him in the wet Lagoon at Red Bull Ring. I think there was a couple of Mustangs.
There is only one Mustang in split SRO Asia, and it is C. Clark, and he hardly ever shows up for anything, let alone stuff that he's planned. So yeah, he's not here tonight. Hasn't marked his attendance. He's flaky as all hell is Clarky. Yeah, like if the Kovacs boys get him into a team for an endurance race, he'll show up on the day with zero practice, and honestly, he'll manage to put in a bloody good performance every time. So every time he does turn up and put it in the car, he's rapid, he's great. But other than that, you never hear from him. He doesn't turn up to anything. He doesn't practice. It's just that is. So that's the only Ford in this split is Clarky's, and as I said, he's not here. So
there you go.
Paige is in chat. There he is. He's obviously running a different internet service provider than his brother John. What's going on with that? I thought John came over and pulled the plug on you or something. So you still got time to get on the grid, maybe? I don't know if you want to. I mean, it's Indianapolis. Who can be bothered, right?
Did he pay the bill? There's a reply from Tok Bromo. Maybe not.
Yeah, spot on. It's karma for living on such a beautiful island. Well, that's well said, Matt. Get stuffed. He posts pictures all day long of how bloody pretty his island is. Lives up there with his hot Asian wife on a bloody tropical island. Get stuffed, Paige. This is what you get.
That's right.
Get some real internet.
No love lost here, though. So Pratma on pole position once again. So let's see if he can trouble these drivers, Lucas Keys and Samuel, who obviously want to try and get the best result they can tonight with some of the big plays not on the grid. Will John Sonicus do it for his brother in the Honda in the 555? Soon time will tell. He's looking very racy there behind Shady Samuel.
Look, the only hope any of us have shutting down Pratama is having a car on the front row that can beat him off the line, and the Aston is not that. So there goes that down to turn one. The Mercedes is pretty bloody handy off the line too. That's a pretty big gap, Moreno. Hopefully he closes that up, because that's going to hold up the guys behind as well. So he's got to really close that up a little bit. But anyway, Pratama on your left-hand side in the Mercedes. The Mercedes is going to be very strong off the line here down into turn one. Keys in the Aston on your right. The green lights and the green flags are out, and we are seeing the Mercedes of Moreno already pull out to sneak in behind his teammate. In fact, he's got such a good run that it might look like he's going to have a little go down the inside here. I don't think he'll send it on his teammate, and indeed he doesn't. John in the Honda getting into Shady Samuel's business there, but they managed to keep it going straight. But up into third, Moreno has made it, and it looks like Tom Maloney's also gone through on Shady Samuel, who's had a bit of a poor start. So back into fifth he is, and as they filter through turn 4 and up into 5-6 now. Pratama has indeed got off the line really nicely. Lucas Keys has managed to stick it in behind him, and he was under pressure there from Moreno, who had a good look down the inside, but he's happy with P3 for now as they settle onto the back straight and head up to turn 7 for the first time.
Yeah, that was very good driving by Lucas Keys as well. He had the pressure, as you said, by the Mercedes, and he's still having a little dive down the inside here, but just pulled it up. But Lucas, obviously knowing how important this race is, and he wasn't going to make that a team 1-2. He knew that was going to hold him up, so looks like he's going to start supporting a gap on Moreno and see if he can get back to Pratama and trouble him. But Pratama's looking very comfortable with a 1.2 second lead as we come into the final section of this first opening lap.
Yeah, Shady Samuel and John still there in 5 and 6, and then a little bit of gap forming back to Carlos in P7. Carlos will be loving life there in P7. The silver class leader has got no Ison in the Mercedes tonight. The yellow R driver is marked out, so Carlos already with the silver class lead is going to extend that gap over Ison tonight without the Mercedes driver here. That's it for lap 1. Pratama out the blocks early. He's 1.3 seconds up on Lucas Keys, and you would suggest that the Mercedes of Pratama is just going to take off into the distance based on what we've seen over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what will happen here as well. But, you know, it's a mandatory stop. There's no mandatory stop for tyres. I think it's just a splash and dash pretty much, isn't it? There's just a bit of fuel goes in for these guys and off they go. But I don't think anyone will change tyres here, though, Jamie. I think they'll just stay on the slicks that they're on unless they probably have a big slide or start to wear them out for some reason. But I'd say they'd stick on those tyres to avoid a long, lengthy stop here.
Yeah, correct. It's just not worth it. There's not enough opportunity to pass on this track. So even when you've got the fresh boots on, there has been a couple of drivers over the last couple of days who have tried that, and it just hasn't worked out for any of them. And of course, Split Red get the advantage of watching all of that. So yeah, as you rightly said, a lot of these guys will have just filled up full of fuel. They will go for 50 minutes until that pit window's got a minute and a half left in it. And then they'll just go in there, they'll do a splash and dash, which takes about 5 seconds worth of fuel, and then they'll just keep going on their shitty old boots, and they'll be sliding around towards the end, that's for sure. But they will, as I said, they'll just see that out because it's not worth putting the fresh boots on.
Yeah, it is probably one of the longest pit lanes other than Spa, isn't it, really, in the game, I'd say.
Imola would be right up there. I don't know whether Imola or Indianapolis is longer. Someone in chat might come in with that one. But yeah, as you said, Spa is probably the longest. Indy's the longest, or we've got Mr. Ben Hickman in the background just said that Indy is the longest, but I can't believe that Indy would be longer than Spa.
I think it's maybe comparing the two of that and Imola maybe, but we're just right on board of Moreno in this second of the Mercedes, trying to see if he can get an opening here from Lucas Keys in anywhere. I've seen the Aston just sort of bouncing around on the curbs, not riding the curbs too friendly. That might catch him undone somewhere in this race here, Jamie. So Moreno would be on top of that and be ready to pounce if anything goes a little bit left field for the Aston over the curbs. There's Sabre in the chat saying it's the second longest after Spa. So just confirming what we think, that obviously pit lane here at Indianapolis is a lengthy drag down through the lane if you need to. So no drive-throughs, you wouldn't want to pick one of those up either.
No, absolutely not. Not too many places to get track cuts here, fortunately. This corner here, this is turn 13. You can cut that pretty significantly and grab a warning there. And if you run a little bit wide here at turn 14, you can see where that triangle is. If you go over that triangle with all four wheels, again, still very hard to get an actual track cut because usually you just get no time gained if you run out wide there. But there's, yeah, not too many places where you can get genuine track cuts here. So fortunately enough, they won't be doing drive-throughs unless they actually kill each other and the stewards come down on them. Bit of dirt being kicked up there from Pratama. We just saw as we come onto the camera there from Moreno and Keys. They were going through a bit of a pile of dirt there from Pratama. So not all's well out the front there, but with a 3-second gap, he's already just, as I said, stamping his authority on this race.
Well, loneliness might catch him out as well too, Jamie. We don't know. So being so far out in these open spaces here at Indianapolis, it's probably not the most entertaining, I guess, as far as scenery is concerned. But I tell you what, Lucas Keys is still under this pressure, and this is a great battle.
Yeah, Lucas
can go all race long, I think, Jamie. It would be awesome to see.
That's what I think. Well, hopefully, I think that's what it's going to be. We're going to watch this all race long, because Lucas is obviously a very fast and intelligent driver. He's demonstrated that already this season, and he's done a lot. He hasn't done a lot of practice, but he's done enough practice to know, and he's seen enough of the split so far to know that there is nowhere to pass on this track, as long as he keeps that Aston on a reasonable line and doesn't overshoot his brake markers or make any sort of real mistakes. He'll just be saying to Moreno, good luck to you, buddy. I'm well and truly happy where I am, and you can sit in my slipstream and you can blow out your tyres as much as you like. I'm just going to be cruising along here beautifully.
As you said, like, that's one thing that viewers might like to know about that. Obviously, the tyres will wear out a little bit from the car following, because you will slide that little bit, and obviously he's moving around trying to make it darting down the inside, maybe lock a brake here as he's trying not to obviously hit Lucas in any spot. So the wear of the tyres may be a thing for the Mercedes here, and maybe he might pit a little bit early. He mentioned that they'll run to about the 50-minute mark, but maybe he might find an opportunity to maybe pit a little bit early and try and force Lucas' hand in pitting after that. There's camera 2 showing all the action between Maloney, I think, as well.
Yeah, Maloney's livery not showing up again, and I'm not sure what the deal is there, but he's got a bloody nice livery, does Maloney, so I wish he'd go and sort that out. Hopefully he gets on the GOAT this week and gets it on for Bathurst. Looks like he's got a little bit of damage there on the right-hand side of that Porsche, does Tom Maloney, so I don't know whether he's gotten stuck in someone at some point. There's a bit of a scrape on the right-hand side there. He's had a bit of fun with someone.
Yeah, it's obviously... don't think it'll be a war anywhere, because everything's on the left-hand side, but yeah, obviously, maybe ran up against someone. There was a bit of action there at the start when we did see, I think, Shady a little bit sideways as well. Oh, as Shady's coming into the pits here, so maybe he's doing this as he's been caught, thinking if he can get into some fresh air, get some time in, and play the long game here now.
So I tell you what, this would be the only time you would consider changing tyres. It's 25 seconds.
Here we
I
go.
still can't imagine it. Ooh, that's very deep. And again, Lucas just got that car in the right place. He sees Moreno coming, gives him enough room, and Moreno gets up on the curb and can't get any drive traction down, so he'll just have to wait for another one. But I'm just thinking of whether Shady changed his tyres there. He's still sitting in the pit lane. Looked like he's moving again, so he didn't come to a stop for long enough to change tyres, I don't think.
Here's the replay of the start there. That answers your question, JC.
Yep. And we did see that too. We saw that on lap 1, so that's where that came from. Shady's on the move again in pit lane, so didn't change tyres. I was going to say, if you were going to change tyres, you'd do it early. You'd get into free space. You'd put in not much fuel for the first stint, and then get on some fresh boots in that fresh space and maybe eke out an undercut. And it'd be a long bloody undercut. I don't see anyone else pitting here anytime soon. But that's what Shady said. He said, I reckon I'm a little bit quicker than Tom Maloney, so I just want some free space, even if it's on these old tyres. I'm going to at least try and get out of Tom Maloney's aero wash and put some laps down.
Yeah, exactly. When they're running so close here, there's a good chance that maybe he may be able to leapfrog him. Will we see Maloney in maybe just to cover that and get that done, knowing that these cars, as you said, it's just sort of flipped it over its side. So instead of waiting for the 50-minute mark, maybe might get that done early as well to cover him off. But it looks like he's staying out on track, Maloney. So he must be going. He's going to follow these cars in front of him, I think. But yeah, wind the time down at about 10 minutes remaining. As you said, JC will probably obviously be where it's going to get very busy here in pit lane.
The only interesting thing I can imagine happening in this one is the pit lane entry is actually a little bit tricky. It's a blind pit entry in terms of, like, once you get into the pit lane, it's okay, but then you've got to go around that right-hand corner, and you've got to be on the anchors before you even see the pit board. The pit board is very, very soon after that right-hand corner, and you don't actually see the pit board until it's too late. So if you don't know it's there and you haven't practiced that pit entry at all, it might catch a couple out, and we might see a few speeding into the pit lane penalties.
Yeah, we don't want to see that, as camera 2's just showing. I think it's Carl Johnson just holding off one of the LOR cars, I think they are.
Actually, good question. I called the Moreno and the Pratama guys LOR, but I'm not sure whether they are. They're running a white Mercedes, and the LOR is a black Mercedes. Are they in the same team? I thought they were, but now I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I thought they had LOR actually when we were at Red Bull Ring. That's why we were mentioning that, but not 100% sure. So got the LOR racing there on our screen for Moreno.
Right, they are.
So
yeah.
That answers your question. So probably more their pro colour.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Yeah, Pratama and Moreno are both pro-class drivers, and so they get to drive the white Mercedes, whereas the Satria and Ison, they're silver class, and so therefore they're in the black Mercedes. That's good from them. I actually like that.
It's a shame Ison's not actually here tonight because he's been actually doing really good. So using this as a drop round, getting ready for Bathurst next week, so this should be a very good way to make a final round for this season. But Ricky holding a good position 7 at the moment. Happy to follow Carl Johnson.
I wonder if this track would be good for multi-class. Yeah. I reckon this would be a really good track for multi-class because whilst there's not a lot of action between the GT3s, even here we can see Moreno's clearly got an extra tenth or two of pace on Lucas Keys, but there is absolutely nowhere to pass. So it's not happening. We've been watching this for ages. We've been hoping that something would happen. I just don't see it happening. Lucas Keys is too bloody quality. He's a high-quality driver. He'll have that car in the right place. We'll be watching this for 47 minutes. So now I'm trying to think what would make this track entertaining. Because it's actually pretty good to hot lap. I was enjoying practicing this track. I was looking forward to this week, thinking that this would be a good racetrack. It hasn't eventuated, but it's a good hot lap track. I wonder if it'd be good for multi-class racing.
With the, what you think of the GT4 cars, I think having that slower car, which adding a bit of traffic to it, I think you could be right because that will obviously change a few things up, spice it up a little bit. This looks like where he's going to try and make the move, but as we know, he's going to then be on the outside for turn 2, and I don't think you're going to see too many cars being able to stick it around the outside all the way there up to turn 3. But I'll tell you what, he's trying every little bit here, Lewis, so really enjoying this battle.
Yeah, I'm loving watching Lucas go about his business, though. That Aston is right on the racing line at all times. He's giving him enough room into turn 1 to have a little poke, but then he's not scared of him either, though. He's certainly not being balked by the idea, and he's not letting him through for sure. So as you said, Lewis can investigate all he likes, but he's going to have to put in a serious dive, and it's probably going to be a really egregious one that causes an accident because Lucas has just got that car in all the right places, and if he can manage that for another 46 minutes, he'll hang on to P2. Yeah,
another thing, as we all know, I think would make this a little bit interesting is if you just add water, like they say in Formula 1, just add some water. And it does definitely spice things up. So, but unfortunately, we had all the water. I don't think there can be any more water that can drain out of the skies after last week. It was absolutely bucketing down, wasn't it?
Torrential, absolute. As I said last week, I don't think I've ever seen any rain as heavy as what we saw last week in Split Red. I mean, every split had rain, that's for sure, but like it was coming down sideways in Split Red. We couldn't see from the front of the grid to the back of the grid. We couldn't see the length of the straight. It was so heavy, especially at the start of the race. Here we go into turn 1 again. And again, Lucas is going to hang it out there and let him have a look and just not going to get it done. So again, Moreno, he's letting him know he's there. He certainly is making him work to keep P2. But Lucas is just, as I said, such a sturdy competitor. And he'll just put that car in all the right places going forward. Yeah, the GT4s, not sure. M2s, I'm not sure. I'm not trying to paint a picture of what it actually would be. And then I'm thinking, like, if you're going to do a multi-class race, why would you do it here? Like, I think we've got so many other tracks that we've got, like Paul Ricard. Everyone loves Paul Ricard, obviously. So that's probably where you'd go first.
Definitely, yeah. There's just having a look there also at Gonzalez. He's half a second, I think, behind Bushel. Bushell in the McLaren up in position 8 at the moment. He was a little bit closer, so he's dropped off just a little bit. He was about 0.3 seconds behind the lap before. We'll keep an eye on the other LOR car as well, the car 55, throughout this race.
So Lucas just gets a nice run out of turn 13 and 14 there, and gets the power down nice and early, and he knows that's basically the corner he can't afford to stuff up is turn 13. If he gets turn 13 right, he gets a good enough run onto the straight here. The Mercedes hasn't got enough time to get into the slipstream for long enough. So that's the most important corner on the track is turn 13 for Lucas Keys in that Aston, and just watching him go through there over the last couple of laps. He's got a really nice line through there. He doesn't overcut the corner, which you'll find a lot of cars do, just try and gain an extra tenth on the cut. He's not overcutting, which doesn't upset the car and doesn't get the suspension bouncing around, so he gets a nice exit, and then he gets it tucked in around 14, which is not an easy flat when you've got full fuel. So you do really have to get the line right coming around turn 14, which can be tricky, especially on older tyres. So we'll keep an eye on that as well once the tyres start to degrade. They'd be dropping off now too. The tyres do drop off pretty early here, which I guess is what makes this interesting going later into the race, and when everyone's obviously not going to change tyres. You'll see a couple of cars, especially the Porsche, the Ford especially, but obviously we've got no Fords. The Porsche will probably struggle quite a bit. I imagine the Bentley would struggle quite a bit once the tyres start to degrade. And as I said, it happens pretty quickly here just because of the amount of curb cutting that we do. So that'll be an interesting watch over the next half an hour or so.
Definitely. Talking about what may have happened, I think JP may have pulled the plug from the 555 Honda, as it looks like, unfortunately, John Sonicus has actually been disconnected as well. So that internet problems that they've been having seem to affect the Honda as well. So that's unfortunate. He was running pretty good.
Yeah, big sad. Big sad. I was surprised that one of them was running and one of them wasn't. I guess they're running different internet service providers. I'm not sure how it works over there in Thailand, but they're not living too far away from each other either, so I'm surprised they wouldn't be on. Yep, gone. There he is. Just disappears into the abyss. That's exactly what's happened.
Maybe JP was riding a push bike, mate, to keep the power generated, and decided to have a break. Power out.
Fair enough. You wouldn't have me push biking for an hour on a road. No way.
Well, he's got to keep fit somehow. Man model of JP. Wasn't he over in the States man modelling last year?
That'd be news to me. Man model. Whew, I'd like to see that shoot.
I believe we were just taking a little bit of a joke of that last year. I remember Carr talking about it.
No, he's a bloody handsome man, is Peach. That's for sure. And obviously everyone knows that he's particularly strong. He used to do bodybuilding and weightlifting and all that sort of stuff. So especially back in his day, he would have been knocking him over. But I don't know about now. I don't know about man modelling. Christ, I'd pay to see that though. Get him in some budgie smugglers. Absolutely. He's up there on his tropical island anyway. Get that done. I'm signing up.
Definitely. There you go.
Carlos is starting to get a little bit squiggly here through that middle sector. As we said, the Porsche is probably going to be the first that starts to feel its tyres. And Satria would be seeing that. He'd be very eagerly watching the rear end of this Porsche and looking for any signs of weakness from Carlos, who's dropped way back from Tom Maloney now. We watched them follow each other around a little bit before. Tom's pulled away, and Carlos now having to defend by himself from the Mercedes of Satria, who's got a nice run here. Carlos defending early. He's picked the inside line, so Satria asked to go around the outside, brake very late into turn 1, which he's going to have a crack at. And now he's got his nose in for turn 2, which is going to give him a little bit of side-by-side. In fact, there's a bit of contact there. That's all fair in love and war, that one. That's a bit of rubbing is racing. They gave each other enough room, and it was only very light contact that, of course, the ACC collision model said, look, you just go over that way and I'll go over this way kind of thing. A bit of a trampoline action there, but nothing in that. Play on.
Exactly. Well driven by Satri as well to keep it on the black stuff as well. He gave it a go, and that's what we're all here to watch. So bringing it on for the viewers. So good racing by both of these guys. There's Carl trying to keep that Porsche, those rear tyres under control. Here we go. He was fair up there, but just running. Oh, a little touch there. But yeah, play on, I think, there. But we'll leave that up to any sort of review if it needs to happen. But I think we should be right there for Satria.
Oh, I'm ready, Connor Hind. I'm ready. Bring it on. Absolutely. We're gonna get a little Benjamin Hignett fact here by the sound. A little morsel, a little taster of our resident cameraman. So I'm all for that. I'm keeping my eyes eagerly on chat as we watch here. This is a good run here. I reckon this is the closest Moreno's been to the back of the Aston. And I reckon Lucas is confident enough that he's just going to hold the outside line here. And in fact, he does. Doesn't even get close. Doesn't even go for the dive. So it looked a little closer than it was potentially. But as I said, Lucas Key's very confident in this OP Aston. He absolutely loves this car, and he's got plenty of pace in every car. But seems to especially have the handle on this one and just doesn't deviate. He's so strong on that racing line. He just looks so confident in that car. It almost looks like a computer game for him. He's driving that well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And at the end of the day, too, like, this is very smart racing by Lucas as well, because he just got to forget about Pratma up front, even though he's got that 10-second lead. He doesn't want to throw away these good point hauls coming home in second. And still a long way to go, 38 minutes to go. You never know what might happen to the leading Mercedes. So stranger things has happened before. But he's definitely just needs to keep Moreno behind here, and he's doing a good job. Just position that Aston, as you said, JC, in the right spots all the time, just to be able to defend nice and easy, lets his intentions known, so avoids any sort of risk of maybe a touch or something like that as well. Cole Johnson in camera 1 at the moment, under pressure from this Mercedes, just runs a bit deep. They're going to have the two Mercedes teammates very shortly, but it looks like it, together. So will they work, band together here to try and upset the running?
Yeah, it's not a bad shout. If he does manage to catch up Angelo Gonzalez, can they sort of slingshot each other down the straight here and potentially get a move done that way? It's the only way I can imagine it happening, because Carlos has already displayed this season that he's well and truly adept in that Porsche and displayed really strong defensive skills in Brands Hatch comes to mind, but there's been a couple other races where he's just had that car in all the right places. And so the only thing that I can see happening to the Porsche drivers is they start to tyre wear quicker than the other cars. But again, that's another thing that Carlos is pretty happy doing, is driving the Porsche sideways. We've seen it in the wet weather most of this season, and now we're going to see it tonight on old tyres. He's very happy getting sideways and doesn't mind a bit of slip angle, so looks pretty comfortable here in P5, does Carlos, in P1 in silver class.
Yeah, I think it was actually that race 2 at Brands Hatch. He was absolutely a demon. I think he got himself on the podium, or maybe top 4, I can't quite remember, but yeah, it was one of the great defensive and strong drives from himself. So I'm sure we're going to see it again here tonight by the looks of it. Satcher has showed that he's brave enough to try and go around the outside into turn 1. So yeah, as you said, maybe a little slingshot or something just to try and help from his teammate, who knows, but these two just seem to be pulling away just ever so slightly.
Yeah, it was a podium in Brands Hatch, I think, now that I'm looking back at the results. So yeah, podium for Carlos, he was pretty happy with it too. He's very happy with himself after that one, so I'm not sure whether he thought that was a bit of a surprise to be up that high, but he certainly displayed that it was no fluke throughout this season. But again, here, having to pick an inside line very early on here, so not confident in the Porsche's straight line speed, and defending the inside very nicely. And into turn 2 and 3 they go in the same order that they did last lap. Carlos hanging on for another moment.
Yeah, we've got to keep an eye also on Shady Samuel. He's slowly catching up to now the back of the guys that haven't pitted, so Jensen. So we know Shady's still in a hunt here for possibly a top. He was up behind Maloney, I think. So I think he's still a possibility of getting position 4, depending on how his consistent lap time is compared to Maloney's. So one thing Maloney's got it going for him at this stage is he's not getting held up by anyone either. So it's going to come down to who could have got into that pit lane the cleanest and get out as fast as those two. So Samuel keeps a clean run. It's going to get very close with 10 to go.
So this is what we were talking about before. Angelo Gonzalez has caught right up to the back of Satria here. Would you rather see a two-stop race here, or would you rather see a reverse grid race here? It's in 2 races, like 2 30-minute races with a reverse grid second.
Oh, I don't know. The reverse grid would be probably maybe obviously introduce a little bit of argy-bargy and you know, faster guys being able to try and make a move. But yeah, we've been seeing lap after lap now how hard it is to overtake. You said that in the opening part of this race, JC, that the passing is almost impossible, especially with these cars so evenly matched. So it's a hard one to really say if you know, shorter races or a reverse grid would do anything. But I'd like to see these two guys work together if they can.
Oh.
Maybe Satria could let Gonzalez through and try and just team up for a good slipstream down the main straight and get that little bit of extra top speed and just pull out and let him make that move maybe on Carl. I'm not too sure.
I hope these guys do it cleanly. Whatever it is they decide to do, I hope they do it cleanly, because there's been a bit of a reputation developed for the LOR guys this season, and they've done pretty bloody well so far. There's been no penalties handed out whatsoever in this race. There's been I don't think there's even been a yellow flag. So they've done pretty well so far to keep their noses clean. And as soon as you said there, let's see if they team up, they got side by side, and I just tensed up a little bit. I hope they kill each other, let alone Carlos.
Yeah, Grillis Napa says 3 stops for fuel, maybe, you know, mandatory stops. But I don't know. Like, everyone seems to take the same strategy, you know, in a way. Well, we've seen a bit change here with Shady Samuel. We would like to see, you know, it'd be great to see him actually, because he was bold to make that early move.
Oh, what's this?
There's a replay. Is this for a position change?
Oh, it might be. He might have got it done. He's finally got it done. It looks like Lucas Keys was just a little bit nervous into the braking zone there. He just got on the brakes a little bit earlier than he has in every other lap so far. And there you go. We have seen an on-track overtake. Bang! Moreno up in a P2, and Lucas Keys now is going to have to try and get that one back. I don't see him doing that, as we said before. I think Moreno's probably a tenth or two quicker than him. And now that he's got that done, he's going to be given the opportunity to show it. Can he disappear off into the distance? And I don't see him reeling in Pratama, but can he put a bit of gap now between himself and Lucas Keys?
Yeah, well, that might answer your question there, JC, right there. So maybe a top 10 reverse grid, you know, the drivers that are normally up the pointy end may just benefit from, you know, make the racing a little bit more interesting.
I think that's the go. I love reverse grids as a concept anyway. Is that a blue flag? Porsche's getting in the way, is it? Yep, it is.
So,
I love reverse grids just because it gives the guys who generally finish around P10 to P15, it gives them a red-hot chance of fighting for podiums, if not race wins. We've seen some drivers in OOR get their first race wins from those reverse grid races, and I think that's a massive plus. So I'm a massive exponent of the reverse grid races, but especially here, where, as you said, if you're anywhere near the same pace as the car in front of you, it's almost impossible to pass. But when you've got drivers of the ilk of, you know, like Ashlyn Reynolds and Mia Rose and Jean-Pierre Senecas, the really properly fast guys coming from P10, that's when you get to see red hot dives, like some really good classy overtakes. Nothing stupid, but they get it done cleanly and they show why they're the best drivers in OOR. And that's what we want to see is those guys get to actually demonstrate really good racing, and I think that's what we get from the reverse grid races, and I think it's more important to put them here at these tracks rather than, say, like a reverse grid race at Paul Ricard, which doesn't make much sense because there's a lot of places in Paul Ricard where, you know, Satria could pass Angelo Gonzalez. They're on the same pace, but at Paul Ricard, they'd find ways to get around each other at Paul Ricard. Well, yeah, this track I think is a reverse grid all over it.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, well done.
Keep pushing.
But we learn those lessons as we go too. Like we pretend like we know what we're talking about and stuff, but we don't actually know until we come here and do it. And this track's not particularly new, but we haven't done a great deal of racing here, so we just don't know that until we actually come here. We just don't know. So we've given it a go. It's not like we're here for a bog standard, one-stop race with a mandatory tyre change. That's the standard. We haven't done that. We've looked outside the box here and said, you know what, no tyre change. Let's see what happens, and we've had a crack at it. So it's the organisers, as I said, they can only just do what they're given, and here we are. And it's not quite worked out this time, but we've learnt that lesson, and next time we come back to Indianapolis, we'll try something different, I'm sure.
Yeah, we will obviously keep our eyes and ears peeled for next time we may visit Indianapolis. But talking about what's worked well, Shady Samuel has not had to deal with Jensen as he went into the pits for his mandatory stop, but unfortunately looks like he's been speeding as well, because the stop-go 30 has popped up after he left. So,
oh no,
we don't want those, do we? But anyway,
that's a big penalty for Big E. He's gone and got himself a stop-go 30. That hurts. That sucks.
Yeah, he was trying to hold off, obviously going to try and finish in front of Macaulay in that Porsche, but unfortunately just couldn't do it, as a regen of someone that may have got disconnected there earlier, Herbert, McLaren. So he's trying to come back to get some valuable points.
There he is. Bang, as you said. Yeah. I'm very sad for Peach. He loves this track. He's put in a lot of work this week, as Peach and the bloody Bentley. He's been practicing trying to drag pace out of that bloody Bentley, and unfortunately doesn't get to display it here tonight. He would have been right up there too. I'm not sure whether he would have been on Pratima's pace, but he'd be right up there in that top 2 or 3, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It would have been good to see how the Bentley performed. We're talking about maybe tyres as well, so that being one of the cars that could be suffering later in the race as well, but we won't really know, as obviously Jensen is the only Bentley, but he's right down, caught up at the back of the grid with that drive-through stop-go 30. "14-second lead has Pratima at this stage of this race. Absolutely doing a great job, as the 2 LOR cars come in now for their mandatory stop. So they've come in a little bit earlier than what we thought, JC.
Geez, they got on the bloody brakes there early too. Coming into the pit lane, it looked like one of them was on the pit limiter before he even got around the corner, let alone before he got to the brake board. So a very, very safe entry to the pit lane there for both LOR cars. That is Citrea and Angelo Gonzalez, and Woon is also in the pits. So 3 Mercedes all lined up like little ducks in the pit lane there.
Yep, they sure are. And when will Pratima decide to come in? He can really control. He can come in whenever he wants, really. He may just stay up there. He's going to start having some lap traffic to contend as these guys start coming out of pit lane, but luckily they're going to be more than likely his teammates, so they should be able to give him a free run. So there was a long stop for the LORs, so it looks like our pit reporters are saying tyres for the LORs for those black Mercedes. So look for them to come on strong late in the race. So obviously Malone or Cole Johnson should be able to come back and hold on to that 5th position. Actually, he will actually maybe drop a position, because as we said, I think that Shady Samuel will be in front of Cole Johnson once Johnson pits.
Looks like all the participants of chat have gotten bored with the race and started having a go at each other. That's just how flat this race has been. You gotta make your own fun, and it sounds like they've just decided, let's tee off on each other. Why not? Go nuts.
Well, actually, I think it's going to start to spice up here. We've got obviously Lucas Keys coming into the pit lane, and Cole Johnson, sorry, and also Moreno is already in as well. So we're going to see where Shady Samuel is roughly in, how far he's going to be behind these two, or in front of them, I should say. So he's coming on through as they're exiting pit lane now, so clearly in front. The man that we're really interested in is T. Maloney in position 3. So Tom, as he's coming around now, I don't know if he's going to be in the pit lane this time around, but there's quite a few drivers starting to take the time to come in now. As the leader's in.
Is that just the timing board not up? There it goes. I was going to say, how is Samuel still behind Moreno? But he's not. It was just the ACC timing board not catching up just yet. That there is how you just get yourself a track cut. If you're going to do it, that's how to do it. But as I said, it's still pretty hard. You've got to be going pretty bloody fast through there. And the reason they're going so wide there is because the tyres are starting to die. And if the tyres are starting to die, you've got less traction. You're not carrying as much speed. So even if you do run wide there, likely to just be a no time gained for Maloney there after using all of the track and some.
Have a look at this battle that's been brewing while we've been looking at all the leaders and everything been going on pit lane. Mike Reel and Zach Graham are at it big time as the Chico roll comes right down the following the Ferrari wherever he may roam. Having a look down the inside, will he make it stick here, JC?
I've seen this all night long though. He's now got it hanging around the outside of turn 2, and there's a little bit of a nudge there, but good drive out of the corner from the Ferrari. Soapy. Oh, that's a nice little dive down there too. He's up alongside. He's having a red hot crack here. Is the Mike Reel Chico roll entry. He's having another go down here. This is going to be it's going to have to be a big old send around the outside, and in fact he's given up on it pretty early. This is a double apex left-hander, so if there was any corner on the track where you could get anything done, it's probably down the inside of that hairpin there as the competitor in front of you goes and takes that. As I said, it's a double apex. If they get too wide, you can sneak down the inside, but not on that occasion. But a good effort there from the BMW. Mike really, he made a red hot crack of it in that sector, the first sector.
Yeah, I tell you what, he would have enjoyed that. I think both drivers would have enjoyed that challenge, as well as the leader, of the race at this stage, Lucas Keys.
Oh.
Did he get around to actually lead a lap, I think? I'm not too sure. But
look at that. Is that, again, this is the timing board getting me again, surely. Shady Samuel in front of Pratama on the timing board. Where are they on track? 4-2-3 is behind 5. Shady Samuel is a long way in front of Pratama in the lead of this race after having completed pit stops. So the boys are saying that there's a potential that Pratama's gone and changed tyres. If he has, that's only cost him 25 seconds. Now he's got to try and make that up in 20 minutes. He's, 7 seconds behind. There's your interest in the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, he's definitely taken tyres. So will we see Lucas Keys? This is where the interest is going to be. Lucas not taking tyres. He's just got some fuel and kept going. So he's going to have his lead of this race from Pratma. So Pratma now has to chase Lucas Keys, I would imagine. Well, Shady Samuel is still coming. So maybe Lucas did put on tyres as well. I'm not too sure, but
Lucas has got him. He's out of the pit lane there, so he's just up in front of him.
Yeah, Lucas wouldn't have put tyres on because he was 14 seconds behind Pratma.
And all the Kovacs boys would be in his ear, especially Paige and John. Now that they're not sitting in the car, they'd be in his ear. Lucas Keys, they'd be engineering for him. They'd be watching the stream. They'd have all the information in front of them. They'd be telling Lucas exactly how to go about his business here. So,
but what's going to be hard for Pratma as well is Maloney. If he comes in and just does his dash of fuel as well, no tyres in that Porsche, Pratma's going to find himself needing to overtake both Maloney, Samuel, and then Keys for the lead. So he's going to be up against it when we know how hard overtaking, but as we know, he's going to have fresher tyres. He'll probably be able to plant that car, that Mercedes, wherever he wants on track to a certain extent.
And we were talking about our AM class Herbert before, how he was struggling to connect or stay connected or whatever. He's just popped in the chat now and he's saying he lost connection in quali, and he's lost connection twice in the race, and it sounds like he's just put the Q in the rack. So unlucky for Herbert there, and you can see him no longer on the timing board. But yeah, as you said, there's plenty of interest up the front now. We were thinking this was just going to be a bit of a procession to the end here, but the Mercedes guys all taking tyres has really thrown the cat amongst the Ferraris here.
Tell you what, Shady Samuel, what a drive. He was the one that pulled the pit stop off early, 10 minutes into this race with 50 minutes remaining, was right behind Maloney in the Porsche and decided Maloney's holding him up. He's going to come in and get some clear air, and everything has fallen his way in that clear air while he's been just concentrating on his own race, Shady. Awesome. Finds himself effectively second in this motor race.
Yeah, we were saying before, we've learnt what sort of format we'd want to do next time we come here, but I tell you what, we've learnt the bloody pit strat now. Shady has just put it on the table for us. You go and box early, you get out of traffic, and you get some free air and just get out of the. It seems like aero wash is actually a really big factor. They're taking all of the grass. Yeah, a bit of grass there as Satria here is chasing around Macaulay. Macaulay it was who got very adventurous on the grass there and seemed to have lost a fair bit of drive as well, which has just given the Mercedes a nice little run up the inside here. And we've seen this story before where there's no grip on the outside there, but it looks like he's got it done. He has managed to hang on to enough drive on those fresh new boots. That's the difference in tyres for you. Macaulay obviously having not changed tyres, and these Mercedes coming back through the back of the field now on fresh boots. So the extra grip doing work there on the outside of turn 2.
Yeah, so I reckon that's where Pratma's going to have confidence, knowing that his fellow teammates down behind him are finding it that little bit easier as the other cars that aren't changing tyres, sliding around a little bit and just being able to get that drive out of the corner. You see that Porsche just wobbling the rear end, struggling. Tyres are screaming out. There's this one here with Mike Reel still going on. And camera 1. So as Peach is glued to the screen here, saying that Pratma's about a second a lap quicker than the leaders at this stage of the race. So it should only be probably 5 laps or 6 laps or so before he should be on the back of Shady Samuel.
There are two things playing into the advantage of Lucas Keys, though. One of them being Shady Samuel is the teammate of Lucas Keys, not necessarily in the phone call though, but he will know that he'll be trying to protect Lucas Keys. I give you the tip, Shady will be doing his best to protect Lucas Keys. He'll defend hard from Pratama. And secondly, we've seen already how hard it is tonight to overtake. So even on fresh tyres, which by the time he gets up to him, they're not going to be super fresh. They're going to be in better condition than the Astons, that's for sure. But even if he does get past Shady, he's got to make 2 clean overtakes, does Pratama, to get the lead of this back. And he's only got 17 minutes to do it. So it's going to be interesting, that's for sure. That's very wide there from James Macaulay. As I said, that's the double apex hairpin.
And fighting back, the Porsche.
Yeah, he's not going to get it done though, because there's no grip on the inside there, and Mercedes got a nice wide run, and then it's obviously a left-hander on the next one too. So the really old tyres there, just not giving him any sort of pace whatsoever. And that's Angelo Gonzalez making his way up into P12.
And I think we've got Maloney. Yeah, he's come out behind Pratma. So that's what I was saying before. If Maloney, he looks like he might have got some. Oh no, he wouldn't have got tyres on because he would have been a lot further behind, I think. So Maloney, if he pitted a little bit earlier, I think when when Lucas Keys pitted, it would have been a good possibility that Pratma would have had to pass Maloney as well. So that's 1 tick for the LOR car of Pratma. So who would have thought? We said earlier that to get yourself a cup of tea, we thought this race was going to show a little bit of excitement. It has, even though we've got a less grid than what we would like. 15 runners. We've had 1 or 2 disconnects here tonight. It's definitely been entertaining. The strategies really made this race come alive.
Yeah, a lot of red dots on the attendance board too. There's a lot of drivers that we've seen at every race so far this season who've just not been able to make it here for one reason or another, including a couple of the guys up the top of the board like Cooley, Rakhmat, and then we've obviously got Ricciuti, who, poor old Ricciuti, hasn't had a good result this season. And he's still, I was looking at the championship standings, he's still inside the top 10 as Ricciuti, even though he's been murdered at every single race this season. So that's bloody good from him.
Oh, exactly. As Chris saying, well, next round will be important. It sure will be at Bathurst, and we look forward to seeing you back on the grid, Chris. So, hope you're enjoying to see what's been going on here, because it's definitely going to tighten up this championship to the final round.
Yep, they're all going to turn up to Bathurst, that's for sure. Even if it wasn't for a championship lead, everyone loves Bathurst, so you'll see a full grid next week. That's for sure, but it's actually going to be really interesting now with a couple of drop rounds having to be taken tonight. That'll really, as you said before, as you said at the start, Neil, that's really going to shake up the standings, is those drop rounds being inadvertently taken. And it'll be the drivers who have been most consistent outside of this round, of which there are a few. There's been a couple that have had some poor rounds. Shady Samuel here on screens, unfortunately, had a shocker last round. And that's going to cost him, I reckon. But he's had a real chance here tonight to make a strong performance. And he's currently in P2, but down the inside. And I'll tell you what, that's interesting. Stewards will have a little look at that one. And he had to go very aggressive down the inside to get that done, Pratama. Now, did he make the apex? And did he impede Shady Samuel? There was definitely contact made, and you would suggest that contact was as a result of the dive. If you're going to do a dive, you've got to get it done cleanly. So that's, again, very tricky, and I'm not going to put my steward's hat on for that one, but they've now got work to do. The stewards. They'll go and have a look at that one and decide whether or not to hand Pratama a little penalty for that or allow him to play on. And if they do indeed give him a penalty, that'll make Lucas Keys bloody happy if he gets a penalty for this one.
He's a long way back. Oh, the replay's not going to continue on there, but we may see it a little bit later. But, you know, again, also with Shady Samuel showing a bit of sportsmanship by actually turning in really aggressive as well to try and make it look worse than what it really was as well, knowing that you said he is sort of indirectly a little bit of a teammate to Lucas Keys. So if they can try and force the stewards, or maybe, you know, a little mistake there from Pratma and cop a bit of a time penalty, this may work in Lucas Keys' favour.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's obviously gamesmanship here, JC.
The stewards will have the access to all the angles too, though, so they'll get in the driver's seats of both vehicles. They'll check out, you know, what Shady Sam's. They even go and have a look at Shady's last couple of laps, and they'll check out his turn-in points. And as you said, if he has turned in a little bit early there, then they may be a little bit lenient towards Pratama. They might say, well, hang on, that was more Shady's fault than Moreno's. So, yeah, very interesting one for the stewards to have a look at here in the last couple of minutes. But before the penalty gets handed down, Pratama's going to close right up here on Lucas Keys. And you would think he makes pretty light work of him, to be honest, because Lucas, as we've seen tonight, has had to do a lot of hard work already defending these bloody Mercedes down here into turn one. And Moreno was the one that he was defending from in the first stint. Now he's got Pratama all over him, and this is for the race win. He knows too, so Lucas will be all over it, making sure that he hits his markers and keeps that Aston on line. But as I said, I don't feel like he's going to have it in him with the new tyres here for Pratama and just the difference in pace. Pratama, we've seen already, he's got the purple lap and he's very, very quick. So probably a matter of time here. They are also coming up on some blue flag traffic. There it is.
Around that hairpin, but he's fighting back down here. But as you said, there's no grip down the inside. But can the Aston do some miracles here? I don't think so, because he's going to be on the outside. But he's tucked in the inside now behind Pratma. And I don't think he's just got nothing left there in those tyres, JC, unfortunately. But geez, he gave it a fight there.
Yep, that is the difference in tyres there for sure. I said this is blue flag traffic. It's a bit of mixture of both here. This is an LOR teammate who's, I tell you what, he's just got in the way there. He's really just put the stops on him. He had to get out of the throttle there, did Pratama, and not end up in the back of his teammate. Now, you would think that teammate has to get out of the way of Lucas Keys there. Lucas, I think, will be a little bit disappointed that the Mercedes has held position there. Lucas is now through, but he would be a little bit disappointed with that one, and that's created a bit of a gap now. So even if there is a small 5-second penalty coming Pratama's way, he's got 10 minutes now to make that back. I would think the Mercedes jumps out of the way here, but I'm not particularly good at blue flags, having not been a blue flag much in my career. I don't know whether that's blowing myself up or not, but I don't know whether he was supposed to get out of the way there or not. I felt like he just held him up, that's all.
It's a tough one, but as we know, sometimes when you've got that battle for the lead and things like that, you like to try and not be a problem as a blue flag. But at the time as well, we have seen these LOR, some of these the lesser drivers have been struggling a little bit. So maybe he just wanted to stick on his race line and not pull out somewhere and loop it in front of Lucas. So that's probably was on the back of his mind as well. So I think it was done okay in the end. But here we've obviously got Pratma trying to, I think, is it Pratma trying to take it there on Mike Reel?
Yeah, correct. So I was going to say this is an interesting one too, because this isn't actually a blue flag. This is fighting for position. Obviously, it's not true position. Mike Reel's still yet to pit, and he'll know that this isn't his race, but he's not obligated to jump out of the way there like a blue flag would. So the fact that he has done so just shows that Mike Reel's obviously a very handsome. He's a scholar. He's a gentleman and a scholar jumping out of the way there, but he didn't have to.
He's probably reaching into his center console, just grabbing another Chico roll.
Distracted by the Chico.
But here we go. That's been a great drive by Pratma. Hand off to him, but hats off to him, I should say. But also, at the moment, Lucas Keys. Now, can he hold off Shady Samuel? Shady Samuel has been just bumping in those laps right from 50 minutes to go. I think that his tyres will probably have cried out, no more, Shady. Just bring it home for third position.
Well, Maloney defending here down the inside from Moreno. Moreno has had a couple of bites of the cherry end of this corner. We saw him fighting with Lucas Keys in the first stint, and here making Moreno do all the work is Tom Maloney, and he's a little bit tense there, Neil.
It was a bit tense. No one that also he's got those fresh boots on as well, so all the LOR cars decided to get those new tyres on. And Maloney, can he just keep that Porsche in the right positions? But it's going to be hard. This will be telling here to coming up to this tight 90-degree left-hander. Will we see? I think he'll be too far behind the Mercedes. But he's having a look.
Mark Bushell currently P1 on pace alone, by the way. Just wanted to point that out. Good drive from the hamster up there.
Very good. Take it while he can.
Absolutely. Just running the bender strat, going as long as he possibly can. Pit window closing soon, though, so he'll have to jump in the pit lane either this lap or the next one. Up the inside goes Moreno, and not quite getting to the apex before Tom Maloney, so gives way. That's good driving from the LOR guys, and they have done well tonight, the LOR guys, especially these two pro class drivers. They've made their intentions known. You know, they've been in the mirrors of the drivers, and they've made these passes pretty cleanly on all accounts. So, yeah, impressive work from the pro class LOR guys. And again, here he's got the run, the Mercedes on the fresh boots coming out of the last corner, and the Porsche just not having the legs. Tom's going to probably leave that in there, and yeah, it's just on the old tyres, not able to get on the anchors well enough. So, probably no pen for that, but definitely concedes the position, and the Mercedes now up into P4 overall.
Yeah, good driving. Maloney, yeah, probably be a little bit upset that he did give a little tag there, but obviously, as you said, probably just ran out a little bit of brakes there in the end, but did well to pull it up anyway. And good driving also, you have to say, for Moreno as well. But Mike's making it hard for Lucas here at this stage. Racing, as he said earlier, he's got every right to do this.
Yeah, there's no love lost here between Mike Reel and Lucas Keys too. By the way, they've had a couple of little stabs at each other in the chat. This is Mike coming into the pits finally as Mike Reel. But I tell you what, he would have just been enjoying holding up Lucas Keys there, I reckon, just quietly.
Yeah, just a little bit, but obviously only a 1 minute remaining for the pit window, so he had to come in that lap anyway. Otherwise, he would have got pinged for not doing his mandatory stop. So he's the last one to satisfy the requirements.
So where's that put him in terms of the battle with Bushell, by the way, Mike Reel? I wonder if he's going to come out in front of Bushell. I don't think so. I think Bushell was 1 or 2 spots up. But Bushell's just dropped in front of the 2 Mercedes as well. Satria and Angelo Gonzalez, and obviously those 2 Mercedes on their fresh tyres, they might have a little go at him. But if Bushell can hang on to P9 there, he'll be pretty happy with that. Probably going to be P8 once Reel comes out of the pits. That'll be a very good little result for him.
I think Mike was actually battling Zach, I think. Is it Zach Graham? I think in that Ferrari. In position 12 at this stage, so we probably expect him to come out somewhere around there, maybe just behind Gonzalez.
Peach just having a little aside there at Mike Reel, but I think he knew exactly what he was doing. As we said before, he let through Pratama, no worries whatsoever. So he's got the IQ. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. He let through Pratama, and then he held up Lucas Keys, and I think he's well and truly entitled to do that based on the argy-bargy that those two have had in chat. a couple of times, either in the Discord or in the chat. Those two seem to have words with each other. There's a bit of history there, so I think he's got the IQ to know exactly what he was doing there, Mike Reel. I loved it. Good on him.
Actually, he's actually come out fairly well. He's just in front of the Porsche of Viney. And Pete's just behind him here.
Yeah, correct. Pete Viney in the green Porsche there. He's done well. Mike Reel, it's been a pretty strong performance. He was saying I think it was midweek, I don't know how early, it might have been only a day or so ago, that he was looking for a top 10 here because there'd only been 10 people who had marked in for the race. So he said, I'm probably going to get a top 10 here. And now that 17 people have showed up, this is a genuine top 10 for Mike Reel. He'll be very pleased with that. The donuts that he does after the race, whilst usually only for show, will actually be genuinely celebratory tonight. Good on him. Put it in the top
definitely.
10.
Second in class as well, JC. So a good result. It's not over yet, 3.5 minutes remaining, so a couple more laps to go. And can he hold off Viney in that Porsche? He's actually got another Porsche just in front of him with Carl Johnson. So he's got some pace in this BMW here on camera 2. As camera 1 showing a look of the LOR taking a position.
Yep, Satria on Bushel. That's work from Satria. Those Mercedes really making those new tyres work. We actually should have taken a bit of a screenshot. Like, obviously, in hindsight, we knew that the guys and the Mercedes have taken tyres. It would have been nice to have known that before they went in, because we could have taken a bit of a screenshot and said, you know, how far has this actually worked out for the Mercedes drivers? It certainly worked out for us as spectators watching these new tyres go past the old tyres, but have they actually net gained? We can't really tell. Really.
Well, this is
10
really
seconds.
entering...
10 seconds for Pratama, by the way. I don't know whether anyone spotted that. That's just come up. But Lucas Keys only 7 seconds back. He's got himself a 10-second penalty, has Pratama. They've decided to whack him with one for what we can only assume was that dive down the inside of Shady Samuel.
Yeah, exactly. So as you said, they would have dissected the previous couple of laps of Shady Samuel and probably seen that he did nothing different that time around. So, yeah, good spot in there, JC. But I'll tell you what, also another thing that you mentioned earlier about the tyres going off, you mentioned that Porsches might be one of them. Obviously, you lose their rear tyres before most of the others, and this is why I think Mike in this BMW is all over Carl Johnson at this stage.
Yeah, the BMW very strong on its tyres. Just a very good car overall is the BMW. So this is it. This is the move we saw before. This is what he's got the 10 seconds for. The dive just a little bit too egregious down the inside, looking to get that move done and not making the apex, and then creating contact with Shady Samuel on the way through. So the stewards have said, no, none of that. Have yourself a 10-second penalty. So with a minute and a half to go, I'll tell you what, Mike Reel here, having to get his elbows out on Carlos Johnson. And Carlos, the two of them now getting together again. This is a good little ding-dong here. Mike Reel and Carlos Johnson, and Pete Viney as well, looking to take advantage. Is going to try and sneak in behind his teammate there and follow him through, but no, Mike Reel got the inside for the next one. I'll tell you what, this is a great little battle here towards the end of the race.
How does this feel? A couple of Porsches wrapped around a Chico roll.
A Chico roll sandwich, no less.
Oh, look, here we go. He's going to have a look down the inside, is he? Oh, this is tough. He's got to pick his lines, Mike.
I'll tell you what, Viney's got to be careful because now Satria has joined this battle too. Satria was 2 seconds behind as they entered the first sector, and now he is right underneath the bumper of Pete Viney, who will be asking these two to very kindly get a fucking move on so he doesn't get eaten up by the new tyres of Satria.
That's what I was going to say. Will Satria actually maybe get all these three cars in front of him before the lap's out, before this race is out, because we've still got time, and it looks like Mike has finally made this stick. Oh, look at the black trail marks at tram lines. Left by Carl Johnson.
So Carlos having to gather up the Porsche there has just put a bit of a stopper on the battle with Mike Reel, who's now got a bit of breathing room, but he also just got he got in the way of Pete Viney, really, who had to get on the brakes to not kill his teammate, and that therefore had Satria right up behind them, and Mark Bushel's also right here in the McLaren now. You can see in the back of screen he's just really closed this gap as well. So this is the two teammates, the two Porsches getting in at each other's business. Oh, sort it out, boys. Just sort it out. We've got 1 lap to go.
We'll talk of the LOR cars taking each other out nearly, but the two Kovac's cars, I think they are both getting in each other's way. As the leader, I think he's got one more lap. I don't know if he crossed the line before the timer's out, but maybe one more lap to go. 8.6 seconds of margin with a 10-second time penalty for Pratma. He's got to get a move on.
That's it. Put that in the books. That is Lucas Key's race winner. He's 8.6 seconds behind. We've seen the checkered flag. Pratma's going to have to cop P2, and it looks like Shady Samuel may have also... No, that's 10.3. So he's out. Big dive here from Carlos, and he's not going to be able to get on the anchors well enough. He's going to cost himself 3 or 4 spots with that one. Unlucky.
Yeah, a bit lazy, to be honest. He sort of threw away all his hard work right through the race. And now he finds himself right behind Bushell.
So Satria really making these new tyres work. I know, as I said before, we didn't get a snapshot of where he was previous to the pits. Oh, he's just made a mistake, though. Was just giving him credit. And he's gone and thrown away P7. And Pete Viney comes and Bradbury's his way through. He was at the back of this little pack, and he had to be patient the whole way as he watched Satria and Johnson get in each other's business. And Pete Viney is going to come across, and I think that's going to be P7 for him. Great result for Tarks. Nice work.
How many changes did we see of position 7 on the last lap there, JC? I think there was at least all 3 had a go at it. But yeah, it's obviously Viney that takes home that position 7. But Pratma will actually lose that lead from Lucas Keys. So Lucas Keys takes victory here for round 7 at Indianapolis. Round 6, I should say. I'm getting in front of myself here, JC.
Is it 6, 5? I thought it was 5. I put 5 in my stream. I thought it was 5. Who bloody knows? Indianapolis. Who says that isn't fun? It says round 4 up there, by the way, on the... See, no one knows. Ben Hignett doesn't know. OOR doesn't know. I don't know. You don't know, Neil. Who bloody knows? It's some kind of bloody round here for Split Red, and it is Lucas Keys, who is going to take the win after Pratama, unfortunately, grabs himself a little pen. It was a massive, massive qualifying lap from Pratama, a 34.5. And you thought he was just going to storm away with the race, but the Mercedes guys all taking tyres at the end has cost them, I reckon, a couple of good results there. So it is indeed Lucas Keys, your Pro Class winner in the OP Aston. Nice work, Pratama, with the purple lap, will console himself with P2. And Shady Samuel, after the really early pit stop and the alternate strategy, really, does very nicely to finish on the podium. Nice work from those 3. In Silver Class, we saw Mike Reel with a really strong performance there in the BW, especially towards the end, gave us a lot of content. Satria on his new tyres managed to get back up into P2 from Bushell, and unfortunately Carlos there in P4 for Silver Class. Could have been for Carlos, and unfortunately a little dive there has sent him off track. Pro-Am, it was Pete Viney. Nice work. I think it was P6 overall, P7 overall, but Pro-Am winner is Tarks Angelo Gonzalez P2, and... can't remember who was P3 there, sorry, and Jensen and Herbert. Unfortunate for Herbert, he disconnected, so Jensen grabs the AM class win. Who says Indianapolis isn't fun? Chat's popping off, and we've had a bloody good race here, really.
Oh, it's been a tremendous last part of the race, and hats off, as I said, to Shady Samuel doing the totally opposite to everyone was thinking. He went in that first 10 minutes and Benefit coming home in 3rd position. But yeah, beautiful driving by all, and what last lap we had.
Yeah, it was the last 10, 15 minutes. It really, and hey, like, hats off to the LOR boys for trying something different, whether or not it was intentional or not, or they just didn't catch the memo that they didn't have to change tyres, not sure. But either way, they certainly provided us with a really good, interesting end to that race here in Split Red. So, but yeah, as you said, especially that last lap, there's battles all over the place, and Mike Reel did pretty well to benefit from most of it. Here he is doing his end of race donuts, as he's so well known for in that Jicko BMW.
Position 7, and big thank you to Simrigs for all your sim racing needs as well. So thanks again for your valuable support.
I don't know how long. Neil, I'm ready to go to bed, and I reckon Ben Hignett is too, but I reckon chat's going to keep going on all night long because there's a lot of contentious. It was a contentious penalty, that's for sure, and I'm glad that you and I didn't have our steward hats on. I didn't want anything to do with that. And as we so rightfully thought it would have, it's just kicked off. It's absolutely kicked off. I think that'll continue in the Discord. And yeah, it's tough being a steward, so hats off to those guys. Thank you for their work tonight, and to the race director as well. Thanks to Ben Hignett behind the cameras, and thank you to you, Neil Haynes, for joining me for Split Red.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Good stuff, guys. See you for North America tomorrow lunchtime, and then after that we're off to Bathurst next week. Have a good night. Ciao, ciao.